Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
What's up, Chicago, Bears Nation, Bears Universe? It's Dan and Aldo Bare Their Souls. My name is Aldo Gandia, and the handsome gentleman photographed to my screen left is none other than Dan Aguirre. Dan, I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you still love the Bears as much as you do masturbating?
That's debatable. Oh my God, it's the same thing that we were talking before we went on the air. It's the same game over and over. Like, you remember we lost like 10 in a row in the 90s through Wani and into the Dick Duran era. Mm-hmm. The script was always the same. Either we lost by 40 or it was painful and we had a lead at the half, even though they were really good and just won a Super Bowl against New England. We'd have them down at the half, and then they would make adjustments, and we would lose. Mm-hmm. I mean, in Wannstedt's last game, it was with Steve Stenstrom, same script. Steve Stenstrom against Brett Favre. We have the lead. We lose it after in the second half. I've been watching the same game for 30 years, and it doesn't matter who their coach is. They can have a little boy in like they have right now, a fucking like 4-year-old genius, and the Bears. It could be Cordell Stewart. It could be Jay Cutler. It could be Jim Harbaugh. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Our guy always throws a pick six. Their guy doesn't. They make adjustments, and there's always a freak play like the turnover that should have been that's negated by Vildor being out of bounds for like 2 seconds when he ran back in, and the Packers guy can be out of bounds for 30 seconds, as you highlighted on Twitter, and they don't throw a flag. Mm-hmm. There's always a play like that where if you whine about it, they're like, oh, like that play was going to turn it. Mm-hmm. But you never know. There's always plays like that, though, where the ball's just kind of laying around. Oh, the Packers have picked it up. It's a touchdown. Remember that week 17 of 2013. There's always a freak play that goes their way.
Yep. That is so true.
It's so, and that quick slant, you know it's coming. You know it's coming, but we always have our corner out of position, like going as if it's going to be an outside route. We always have him playing the outside of the receiver when he should be playing his inside shoulder because the slant's coming. We can't stop it. It could be Don Mikowski at quarterback. We can't stop it. We're like a fucking impotent cock that just flops around.
Not that I would know anything about that.
No, and unfortunately not yet. But the point is we can't stop it. And it's maddening. And to hear Chris Collinsworth for 3 hours. Oh, did you know? That's why I put that Howard Stern thing. Okay. Anyone else that's listening doesn't know what I'm talking about, but we put together 6 minutes of Howard Stern basically saying that Aaron Rodgers is a piece of shit. And that I had to have that to balance out 3.5 hours of Chris Collinsworth basically trying to make him come on air. And for him to be like, oh, Al, Aaron was such a victim. He was such a victim through this COVID process. He wasn't a liar, and he wasn't, whining when he was holding out and trying to force a trade and come back in I think they're going to be able to work it out now. Just this incessant placating of Aaron Rodgers, like he's the victim on everything. It makes me nauseous. It's unprofessional.
It is.
His job is to be subjective. Oh, no, it's to be objective. I forgot.
Wow, what a start for Dan Aguirre. Woo!
Hold that thought. I've got a station off there. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'll let people know what they have in store for themselves, what we have in store for them. Listen to that. That sounds like a spaceship from outer space. I was negligent in not saying, yeah, that's correct, that Johnny Santucci is with us. And so whenever in the chat room you see something from Borum Network, that's actually John in control of the Borum Network chat. I have opened up my little chat, so if I share something, it'll be under Aldo Gandia. And so John is on the board and will be joining us couple of hours into the show to share his thoughts about the world at large and maybe give us some winners, because I see on Twitter that he is making some money. So that's always good if you can share the wealth. And
okay, I'm back. Sorry.
No problem. Stephen Me says, hey, man, fuck the Packers. Well, Stephen, I got bad news for you. We're going to be doing a lot of talking about the Green Bay Packers, and it's not going to be pretty because Dan has come up with 10. Well, why don't you set it up, Dan?
I figured we could do it like Godfather 2 and have two separate stories going at the same time.
Sure.
So we don't do a number 10, number 9, like back to back to back to back. Because like you said, all those highlights back. When are we going to talk? So
and it's nauseating too, because these are not Bears wins.
Right. So I try to come up with 10 sneaky bad moments that maybe we've forgotten in the Bears Packers history. The obvious ones, would be the NFC Championship or the 2013 game, week 17 with it all on the line and Randall Cobb, or, the first game of Nagy's tenure, or the Butkus Sayers game in 94 when they got their jerseys retired, the rain, and then we lose by 170, but so I try to put together, I don't want to just be a masochist and relive all these terrible moments that I've just acknowledged, but I try to come up with 10 that are sort of sneaky. And one of them I'm very proud of in there is that play I keep referencing to you in 2002 with Roosevelt Williams, the slowest secondary man in the history of professional football. As you'll see on the highlight, he ends up with the ball, and Keith Traylor running in 2001 against Jacksonville is quicker than this guy. Or William Perry would have been quicker than this guy. And I'm not even talking Fridge in 85. I'm talking Fridge with the Eagles in 94. He was that slow. Like, how is this man in the secondary and that slow? Only the Bears.
Yeah. You are right. Only the Bears. And I just have to say that after sampling your 10 videos and after listening to the media highlights thing that I put together this week, And I might take that off your plate, Dan. I'm actually enjoying putting this together. It's an opportunity for me to hear what the local media is saying, and so I've been having fun with it. And so we can have you cut more things like you did with this Packer thing, which is brilliant, by the way.
It's hard to cut. Like I saw you said this one was longer than normal. It's sort of hard to cut things out. Like I said last week, when you're doing it, you're like, oh no, this has got to be in, this has got to be in, this has got to be in. And then before you know it, you're at 20 minutes.
Yes, I'm over 20 minutes. I'm closer to 30 minutes this week. So it's I could not stop myself. I got to put this in. I got to put this in. Well, this doesn't make sense, but I got to put it in. I'm talking to myself. And so we have that. But after going through all of this and even in the weeks prior, it's just sinking in on me, and I hate to admit it because it's been, I should have realized this many, many years ago, but it's beginning to sink on me that the Bears are just never going to win another championship with George McCaskey leading the team. I have gone off of the fire Nagy, fire Pace storyline narrative to now fire the chairman. Brad Biggs sent out a tweet today asking, hey, mailbag is open. Let me get your questions. And so my question that I submitted, he probably won't run it, but
he'll probably block you.
He probably will. But my question was, what does it take for the board of directors, the Chicago board of directors, to oust George McCaskey? Now, when Michael McCaskey was fired, in essence, by his mother, he was the president of football, president of football operations. And so he was bumped up to the chairman position, which was empty at the time. He was bumped up into that role and then stripped of the president of operations. So it was basically the chairman thing was kind of a symbolic gesture by Virginia McCaskey. But this is different. This is George McCaskey making some decisions as to who to hire and who to lead the Bears. Well, the problem is his. After 11 years of futility, 20 games under 500, only one playoff appearance in those 11 years that George McCaskey has been the chairman of the Chicago Bears, it is now time for us to set our focus on him. Nice guy. Super nice guy. If you ever meet George McCaskey, he's going to shake your hand. He's going to take a photo with you. He's going to be great. When I worked over at WBBM TV, he worked in the newsroom over there. I was in the programming, and I'd go over and visit. He was a sweetheart of a guy. He's a super nice guy.
He ran away from us in Cleveland, though.
Yes, he did. He took one look at you. He said, that's a big Bears fan there. I got to get away. And so it's time to reach to the upper levels of this organization and set the dynamite there, not at the coach's office, not at the general manager's office. It has to be with the chairman of the Chicago Bears and Virginia McCaskey and this board of directors. However they go about it, they have to say, George, it's time for you to give it up. And it's time for us to bring in an outsider to be the chairman of the organization and then start all over, because this just looks like what Ryan Pace is going to leave the next general manager is a fucking colossal mess. And the only thing that's going to reduce it from a colossal mess to a mess is if Fields plays tremendously to like Aaron Rodgers did for many years with the Green Bay Packers. His performance overshadowed the inadequacies on defense and certain other parts of the team. But I just got a bad feeling that the rest of my life, I'm going to be rooting for a team with nowhere to go except down or exactly where they're at now.
I thought that as soon as the Cubs won, when the Cubs won the championship, I felt I'm going to be one of these old fucking guys that misses out. Mm-hmm. There's so many terrible stories. I mean, good stories, but terrible for the individual people. Right. Oh, my dad, my grandfather, all their dream was for a Cubs championship, and people visiting the cemetery when it's about to happen. That's going to be me. I'm going to be the dead fuck when the Bears win the title. And I knew that in 2016. I thought that as soon as the Cubs won, we're on the precipice of winning. But I do disagree on one thing. Okay. With you. The stuff you say about McCaskey, of course, is kind of hard to argue. Mm-hmm. So that's not the part I disagree with. I still want Nagy on, and the move and I'm not saying anything unique here. A lot of people I think everybody felt this way, but I have to acknowledge that, you're down. I don't remember the exact sequence of the game in terms of the score. I'm guessing it was 38-27 or maybe 35-27. And it's like 4th and inches and you punt in the fourth quarter. He's got to go for it there. He has to go for it. Just punting there. I mean, you're giving up. Your defense, you've already lost Roquan. You've got Eddie Jackson playing in the nickel because you've lost 2 guys in the secondary and DHC's out for the year now. So you're down to your safety playing nickel, which I don't understand because you could have put Vildor back in at that point, and you've got Burns on the outside along with Johnson, but they've got Eddie Jackson playing the slot. Roquan's out. Your defense is not going to stop them at this point. And who knows what they're doing. There was that one sequence they had Nichols out in coverage. What the fuck is going on? But the point is, if you punt in that situation, you're giving up because they're going to score.
Yep.
Your only shot is if somehow you score on that possession. That's the only way you're going to be in that game.
Yep.
And he surrendered.
And the press conference after the game, he was asked about that, and he kind of hemmed and hawed and said, "Yeah, he looked like a kid who got an F on his paper, and he's apologizing to his parents that he didn't study and so forth." And then the next day on Monday's press conference, he says, "Yeah, I should have gone for it." This guy, cowardly move. You're on your last days. Go out fighting. Go out taking chances. Go out, doing something dramatic, and so that way you leave with a flair, and as opposed to a whimper, which is what you're doing now with the Bears. It's really, really frustrating. And I don't know. I why don't we get on to the media, because it is a long segment, and some of these topics that we have addressed and will address are covered here, so we can react off of what is being said. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. And I will confess to you, because like I said, I worked 8 to 4. So as soon as the game ended, I had to go to sleep. So I've heard none of this. Anything you're going to play, I've heard none of it.
Okay. Well, I've got some good stuff here, and this is all primarily either the night of the game or like the Hamp OB show or the very next morning, and it's all local radio. So here it is without further ado.
Fields, who I think had a really, really bad night. And you know what? We know about the pick 6. We got that. He was way late. But all night long, OB, he was not recognizing where the ball needed to go quickly enough. And everybody goes, oh, well, he shouldn't play. That's exactly why he needs to play, so he can learn.
Right. How many times did he stare down? I thought he was actually, hopefully, he's looking to his left, and then he's going to go to his right, see if not there, then he's going to look for his third receiver. He looked them all the way down, Danny.
Yep.
What we just point out.
Throughout the second half.
He never took his eyes off the receiver, and he did it the whole game. And, Glenn, let me ask you a question. I brought up in front of Mark and Dan. Do you watch Justin Fields' delivery? He has the ball, okay, and let's say he's going to make the pass. He has both hands on the ball. He takes it in his right hand, drops it down to his waist, goes back, comes over his shoulder, and releases the ball.
He does, and you can't do that.
You can't do that in this league.
That's why he's late on that out route, because he drops it.
Thank you, Glenn.
And unless they fix that. And by the way, Ed, you know what I call that? Coaching.
Absolutely. You mean to tell me
in the NFL, you correct that.
We've got 6 guys on the offensive backfield staff.
Yeah,
coordinators, head coach, all of them. They haven't corrected anything.
I've sat here when this kid has been in this game, and today wasn't the only time, gentlemen, you, Dan and Mark. I've said this before. I said, look at his throwing. Right. My God, it takes him all day to throw the ball. He takes it up. He's got it up on his shoulder. Folks that you're watching, get the film if you can. You'll know exactly what. And guess what? Go the weeks before and the week before, and you'll see the same damn thing. You got to keep that ball up by your shoulder and let it go. He drops it down to his waist, back behind him, up and over, and throws it. You're not going to be a quarterback in this league for long doing that, because you know what? Somebody's going to crack you and break you in two, let alone you not making it as a quarterback.
And that throw, when you have the normal release in an NFL quarterback, it's .03. Fields is .09. So it's, does that sound like a lot? Not really, but in the NFL, when you're wide open by a half a step, it's a pick.
In this league,
and it's a sack. That's what it is.
And the bottom line is this: people in film study, they see that, and when the ball drops, that's when they plant and break. That's why every pass is basically contested.
Dan, you're calling it. Glenn, did you see how many times the Packers defensive backs jumped the route? Did you see how many times today? I'll guarantee you there was a handful, if not a half a dozen or more, where they jumped the route. Why? Because of his throwing.
It's very fair. Like, he had two picks. He could have had a lot more. He could have easily had 4 picks tonight. Easily.
Right.
Well, I'm saying.
Justin Fields, tough rookie. Played through rib injury, got back onto the field. And, he had a telegraphed pick 6, and he bounced back in a resilient touchdown pass later. Overall, in your mind, did the good outweigh the bad from the quarterback position for the Bears, or what did you see and how would you assess it?
Flashed a little bit, just a little bit. There was that, I think he had a 19-yard pass to Darnell Mooney real early in the game. That was a good throw. The Demir Bird touchdown, it looks like they borrowed that from how the Vikings scored about 3 weeks ago against Green Bay, taking a wide receiver, in Minnesota's case, Justin Jefferson, lining him up in the backfield as a running back and then using him on an angle route. Get a lot of man-to-man coverage from Green Bay. So the Bears, game plan-wise, scheme-wise, the Bears put in some good work that paid off. But I think if you start saying, hey, the good outweighed the bad here for the quarterback, you end up talking yourself into making a mistake. If you look at his numbers with 4:33 to go in the ball game, okay, that's when the Bears regained possession of the ball following a kickoff after Green Bay had gone up 45-27, I believe it was. 4:33 left in the game. At that point, the Packers are going into a super soft defense because they just don't want to give up a quick score. Fields was 11 of 22 for 161 yards at that point. Of those 161 yards, 45 of them count for that little flip to Jakeem Grant that he's kind of in jet sweep action there, and he pitches him the ball. That counts as a pass, okay, not a run for Jakeem Grant. And so every quarterback's going to have one of those, something like that from time to time. But, boy, you back that out of there, and he had 115 yards passing or so with 4 minutes to go in the game. So I think I can see why people out there will want to, say there was more good than bad, and the pass protection was awful in this Tevin Jenkins situation. Who told you guys all along? I couldn't find anyone out there that said he could play left tackle. I wouldn't say the good outweighed the bad.
What's fascinating about it, Brad, is I think that Justin Fields represents hope to a lot of Bears fans. And when you talk to people, the thing you hear all the time is, if he could only take that fourth quarter against Pittsburgh and do that a whole game. And I understand why people say that, but he's coming back from ribs. It just seems like they're asking him to do a ton. And he is a rookie quarterback trying to figure out how to play in the NFL. As you say, the protection was terrible. He led him in rushing because he had to take off a number of times, and he's playing with cracked ribs. I just think they ask him to do everything, and we, as a team of observers, feel the same way. This is it. We get to watch the quarterback for the final quarter of the season. He's going to put up the same kind of fourth quarter against Pittsburgh every time out.
Yeah, and it's not something that he can easily replicate. He had a nice second half at Pittsburgh.
it's a really simple play, but it works great in man coverage. Like, those are all really good plays, and you don't hold them against them. But if you think that this offense that was averaging 16 points per game coming in was going to be able to repeat in the second half what they did in the first half, I think your expectation level was way too high. And it's what makes coaching so very important. In the second half, you didn't help out Tevin Jenkins. You didn't run the football. You didn't help your quarterback. It's just... it's tough to watch sometimes. And at the end of the day, even if you do make some of the adjustments, and even if you do make good decisions as a coaching staff, you're probably not going to beat that Packer team because you're not better than they are, talent-wise. And that points the finger at the guy who is in charge of organizing the roster. So again, we could sit here and hammer the coach all day long, and for good reason. Like, we've been critical when it's necessary. They don't make the necessary adjustments that other teams do. But they're also not playing with the same powerful hand that other teams are in certain instances.
Don't think they want Tevin Jenkins to play left tackle. That's what it sounds like to me. That there is no, like, if he's out, then we got to huddle up and we got to talk. And then Matt Nagy's saying, yeah, right, left, right. It could be anywhere.
So Larry Borum, in 33 games at Missouri with 19 starts, all of his starts as a senior were on the right side, right tackle. He, quote, saw time at left tackle as a sophomore. That's it. That's his college experience. Quote, saw time at left tackle as a sophomore.
Yeah.
As a senior, he's a right. Tevin obviously started the season at left tackle for Oklahoma State, then moved to right. They don't have one. They don't have one. And still, this is how scared they are of Tevin playing there, that they might move Borum there, who didn't play there in college either.
Right. It seems like they have no interest in doing the let him play through it thing. Like, they protected him a lot with the chipping that they were using last night. And even when protecting him, he was making mistakes and allowing rushers to get to Justin Fields.
And sometimes the help was Jimmy Graham, which I do not believe counts as help.
Yeah.
Well, they have to have someone there for him as often as possible. I don't know. I am of the belief that these guys need to play through it, and that Justin Fields is going to maybe get hit a little bit more than you would like to, and that sucks. And I am as big of a fan of Justin Fields and a believer in him as the future of the franchise as anybody, but you are out of it. You are eliminated. You need to figure out and develop and see what the hell you have in these guys. Because I don't know, call me crazy. I'd like to know heading into the offseason, is left tackle a need?
Yes.
Or is Tevin Jenkins going to be a guy who can be a starting left tackle?
No, I agree with that. And if you are feeling better about Borum than Jenkins and you want to swap them, then okay, because that way you're doing it. You're letting them both play and letting them work through it while also theoretically protecting Justin a little bit more.
I just think they need to play. Like, they can decide if Borum's ahead of Jenkins and you want to protect the blind side more because Fields can protect himself more if Jenkins is further behind. Fine, but like the end of this season is about evaluation here.
You'd rather have these guys than Elijah Wilkinson eventually.
People who might be starters for you in building blocks of the future. Like, you need tape.
Well, we always talk about it, hear about it, and see it where coaches, organizations allow the quarterback to play through their mistakes, like what we are seeing right now with Justin Fields. And we can go through the myriad of quarterbacks in the past who sucked in their rookie year and let them play through it. Is left tackle a position in which one can do the same thing? Can you, at that position, at this level, is that realistic to let that player play through it, especially when he had no training camp, nothing up until he got into the game last week on a couple extra points, and now here he had to play full game and was exposed?
Olin said he thinks that he was impressive with his toughness and that he'll make a big step forward in the Vikings game.
Okay.
Game plan for it. Roll him out to the right.
Out-coached, out-schemed. We don't have as good a talent, obviously, but you were in that football game. Your coaching staff was lousy at best last night.
The Bears should lose games like that because the Bears find a way to lose in entertaining ways, right? No participation trophy, and I love the Bears' resolve from special teams, from Fields, from the offensive line, but the talent in the secondary, the offense, is just not there. It's just not good enough. And when we saw this game last night unfold, even though I think a lot of Bears fans felt good about that first half, again, you just knew the bottom was going to fall out because, again, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have, off games very often against the Bears. And so what we saw out there, Cap, is just really a microcosm of Bears football in which, yes, 30 points should be enough to win the game, but not when you're surrendering 45. The Bears had so many self-inflicted wounds, from Fields turning the ball over to the Bears not coaching well to a secondary that's just a sieve. They just got Crawford or no Crawford. Whoever's back there is just bad. And so whoever takes over this organization has a lot of work to do. It's not just Justin Fields being the quick fix. If that was the case, Jacksonville would be in the Super Bowl this year. It's not about a quarterback. Point is, though, it's more than just the development of Justin Fields. That defense is shot. It's not a surprise that the Bears lost the game, but again, it just shows you they lose in so many different ways, like they did yesterday, where you look good in the first half and all of a sudden the bottom falls out. Not a surprise, right?
First of all, when he says to Catherine Tappan, "I'm having so much fun out here," who says that? Name me a quality football coach. Like, does Bill Belichick say that? Nope. Does Nick Saban say that? He could be up with his great Alabama teams 48-0. And as he comes off the field, everyone's watching that interview like, is he going to bite her or his head off, whoever's going to interview him when they ask a question? I'm not satisfied. I didn't like this. I'm having so much fun out here. And everything you did basically in the first half was unsustainable.
Sure. You know what? I'm sure he was having a lot of fun because it was 27-21 going in the half. So he never thought that the Bears had scored that many points. So I'm sure he thought that was fun. But again, anyone that believes that was fun is a loser. And Matt Nagy's a loser. If he really did say that, if that really was the quote from him, then that is the quote from a loser. Someone that says, "Oh, we won the first half, so we won the game." Well, I'm sure that you're excited that for once the Bears are able to score in the first half and not the second half. But the point is that anyone that feels like you've won the game after you're up 27-21, then you have the problem.
Send the message, "Hey, I want to play," and was overruled 24 hours later. We've seen that happen before. We have no idea, folks. We have no idea what goes on behind the scenes at Hallis Hall when it comes to injuries and when it comes to proud guys like Akeem Hicks. Maybe he felt like he was ready. Maybe they didn't want to put him out there, and somewhere there's a conflict there, and it is headed toward divorce, as you pointed out. So I don't know who his intended audience was, but it was strange. I will agree with you. That stood out for very odd reasons. As for halftime, Mully, obviously that's when it becomes less emotion and more intellect, right? Because the Bears came out, and as we kidded last week, Aaron Rodgers did a tremendous job of getting the Bears emotionally ready for this football game. Okay, the Bears came out sharp, but it lasted for 30 minutes. Then they went into halftime, they regrouped. Then it's less about your heart and more about your head. What are you going to do to counter what you know is coming? Packers had the ball. They come out, methodically march the ball down the field. They score. And the Bears didn't have an answer, and they stuck to what they talked about at halftime, which for what some reason was, hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, I got this great idea. Let's start the second half with the quarterback option play. You know, our quarterback with cracked ribs? Let's expose him and run an option. It's really cool. I have this play collected in Chapter 5. And let's pull this option play out, expose his ribs, and make him pitch, and it'll be real cool. And they'll do the first snap. On the second snap, we'll not give our rookie tackle any help. What happened at halftime? Sorry.
What happened to the creativity that you saw to open the game? I don't think I loved all those plays, but they tried different things. They were given different looks. They were doing different things. They is that – okay, we got these scripted plays. Now we're through them. Okay, what do we do? Well, why don't we go back to doing the stuff that didn't work earlier in the year? It was such a dud. It was difficult to watch, knowing that they needed a first down and they couldn't get one.
I was trying to make sure.
We were actually talking about what Jalen Johnson had to say in the last segment about why his assignment changed when Devontae Adams moved to the slot and he didn't follow him there. What were your takeaways from Johnson's performance and just how he wants to improve and learn more in being a cornerback and what his next steps are.
You know, Layla, there's an interesting conversation there, and I'm surprised, at least if anybody's had it, I haven't heard it a lot, but I think that, people remember Jaylon Johnson was the 50th pick in the 2020 draft, the Bears' second round pick. You guys remember who the 51st pick was, don't you?
Off the top of my head, no.
No? It was Trayvon Diggs. Cowboys came up with the very next pick and took Diggs. Now, I am not ready to say that Diggs is the better corner. He definitely has shown the better ball skills to this point, but as we've learned, trying to recapture the 18 Bears, that so much of that is the bounce of the ball. They're both really bright young corners. The conversation that you were having, though, is interesting because there are more than a handful, probably half a dozen, 7, 8 cover corners who are good enough that they will follow a receiver to either side. But you can count the guys on a couple fingers who go everywhere. Jalen Ramsey can go inside. Stephon Gilmore used to go inside. The slot is a totally different position, and the way it's evolved, the nickel corners were always the smaller, faster, quick twitch guys because it was always those types of receivers, the Rondale Moores, the Tariq Cohns that you were seeing in there in the slot. And the trend around the league the last decade or so, as all these oversized wide receivers have come out, has been to look for the bigger corners who can stay outside with them. But there's very few guys who can play both outside and then go inside, depending on who you're getting there in the slot. And so I thought Jaylon Johnson's comments were spot on. Obviously, it's great that he does want to be, one of those guys, because that's an all-pro. That's one of the 3 or 4 best corners in football. But it wasn't surprising really at all to me last night that he didn't go inside when they moved Adams inside, because it really is a different position. And at this point, you haven't seen him play it. And then even beyond that, in fairness, guys, Duke Shelley is not special. But he was improving on the nickel before he got hurt. Marquis Christian was the first choice. It didn't work out with him. Xavier Crawford probably shouldn't be on an NFL roster. So, the Packers did a nice job of identifying that. But they would have tried Adams inside no matter who the corner was. And they were lucky enough that the Bears are so undermanned at the nickel right now that Adams took over the second half.
So
aged over, right? I mean, at this point, we all know a change is going to happen. I think on Jan 10, that's the one thing we can be excited about, right?
They look forward to.
There's no first round pick,
right?
And it sort of sucks for Matt Nagy. I get it; he's losing his job, but we're excited. But he's going to move on, and we're still going to be here. We're still going to be cheering for that team,
right?
And the only thing that's going to re-inject some life into this franchise is by cleaning some people out. I mean, that's it.
It's the way it works. Got to clean some people out.
So, and he's a big boy, and he's compensated quite handsomely, and he's going to get another job somewhere anyway.
And you've got to make decisions on this roster. Somebody from the outside coming in who can look at this roster anew without any biases and be able to go ahead and clean this thing up a little bit and keep some people that you need to keep and say goodbye to some people that need to go. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, there's some work to do, man. I mean, they don't have a first-round pick. There's work to do.
There is work to be done. You can address this thing in an offseason. This can be addressed in an offseason, but you've got to make the right kind of moves.
Where are your playmakers? Truly. I mean, like the Grants, that's nice, and you can pop that on teams. The more he does it, the more teams are going to be prepared for it, too, like you always say. I mean, teams are going to see more and more of it on tape and be prepared. Let's not pretend that Jakeem Grant is anything more than what he is. It's like the people used to tell us how great Tariq Cohen is. Right. Not really. He's fine. When you get him his 5 touches a game, he's a gadget player. And Grant probably is about that, too. Let's make no mistake.
I'd say he's the replacement for Tariq Cohen.
Kind of a gadget player.
That gadget player that you're looking for. Somebody with that high-end speed.
Like, where are their playmakers? Allen Robinson's going to be gone. He's had a bad year anyway. Mooney, sometimes, he fights the football a little bit, too. I got news for you. He does.
Yeah, I wonder if you're supposed to come back to that ball yesterday, too.
Maybe.
That's a Tom Waddle question.
Okay.
I'm not going to say he should have been coming back to the football. What I'm asking and wondering is, should he have been coming back to that football? That's the question I ask. Not assessing blame, but I wonder if he needed to come back for that football.
Like, if Fields is good, it'll make this whole thing easier, and they'll be able to turn it around quicker because then you've got the quarterback. But, like, where are the playmakers? We're still waiting for Cole Kmet. You watched George Kittle yesterday by any chance?
Oh, yeah.
Matt Nagy wants us to watch the Colts game. Do you watch the 49ers?
His last 2 games.
I mean,
his last 2 games after coming back from injury. Pretty damn impressive, yeah.
I mean, what, like...
That's how tight end should play. That's a tight end.
That's a tight end.
That's a tight end.
By the way, do you know who the Bears drafted? When, I think I have this right.
Kittle was on the board.
Kittle was on the board. Kittle was drafted in the 4th round. You know who the Bears drafted in the 2nd round? Adam Shaheen. Now, I get it.
You're great
Nobody knew that Kittle could have done this. By the way, I'm going to rant against Iowa again a little bit. I'm sorry for the Hawkeye fans because I've been all over you. Like, you had George Kittle. Did you ever... Like,
did you ever think about utilizing
him? Did you ever think about maybe using George Kittle?
At some point, they became like tight end university.
They are tight end U.
Tight end university they became.
The kid there now is good. The Laporta kid, Sam Laporta, right? Like, he's good.
It was very entertaining, especially the first half. And, Justin did some good things. Justin did some bad things. Justin's a rookie. The team's just not good enough yet. And the question is how much patience do you have? And do you want to start all over with another coaching staff? That's really all you have to ask about the Bears right now. That's what most people are asking back here. If I get a call about the Bears, it's always about Matt Nagy, the coaching staff. Are they treating the quarterback right? I got to tell you, Justin Fields looks better right now than Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson do. I can tell you that.
And do you think that's a testament to the coaching staff?
It's there's a little bit of that. Yeah, there has to be. I mean, if you're going to get on them for negative things, then you got to get on them for positive stuff. And Look, all these kids are being forced to play right now. I wish, in some respects, that both Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson would just sit out the rest of the year. They're going to get killed. These I don't know what these offense coordinators are doing, especially when I see what happened with Daniel Jones 2 weeks ago. Freddie Kitchens, a new offensive coordinator, second play, he calls a run play for Daniel Jones. This kid might be out the rest of the week, the rest of the year with a bad neck. I mean, like, these kids, yeah, it's great to be out there and to have some success. But, man, they just don't understand all that they need to understand in order to protect themselves and give their teams the best chance to win. But I think, Justin has shown the propensity to deal with a bad play and then come back and make a good play, which, when he throws the interception last night and then comes back and kind of pushes that aside and plays, a really solid first half, I'm feeling pretty good about him.
Is it worth it for him to be out there? And as you say, Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence ought not to. They're in more chaos, and their offenses are in more chaos than even the Bears, though, aren't they? And perhaps it's a credit to Justin and his toughness and his strength, but it seems to be worthwhile for Justin to play in this scenario. Do you think?
Yeah, well, it feels that way, especially when, he's throwing, touchdown passes and he's moving around and he's running with it and he's getting out of bounds and trying not to take hits. So I would say yes, that I'm comfortable with him playing for sure. This would be the part of the year that I would have played him anyway, simply because even though you may feel like you still have a puncher's chance, there's really very little chance you're going to make the playoffs. But you might as well get him ready to go. And as long as he doesn't look like he's stumbling all over the place like Trevor Lawrence, who threw 4 interceptions, did yesterday, or Zach Wilson, who looks like a high school quarterback out there on the field, then you can play him, and it looks like he's physically tough enough to handle most of it. So I think if I were a Bears fan, that's the reason I want to watch. I want to see him, and I just want to see him getting a little bit better.
What did you see on the pick six, Boomer? What did he do wrong?
He never saw the defender. And, again, like, these are things that he has never seen before. He's never seen athletes like this on the field. So he could take those chances in college because he played on the best team with the best players, a group of wide receivers that very rarely were ever covered. In the NFL, there's fire zones and blitz zones and all sorts of double coverage and in and out coverages. They call them bingo, banjo coverages, all these different little terms that they have for them. And when you play against, a good defense, you play against smart defenders, they can read the eyes of a quarterback. You have to learn to play with the guys in the secondary with your eyes. And he'll learn it as time goes on. But right now he's just a little bit, I think, too aggressive. But then again, that's a rookie.
Mission. Do you believe that there is a chance that George and Ted, Scott, Virginia, Brian, somebody is going to relieve Matt and put him out of his misery because he looks awful. He looks like he hadn't slept in 10 days. He looks terrible. Take the pressure off, and then you can go about the business of doing what you need to do, or you truly believe they won't fire someone in season?
Well, no. Do I believe there's a chance? Certainly there's a chance. No one seems to be privy at all to kind of their level of thinking right now up at House Hall and where they are and when they want to start the timeline and what changes they want to make first. Again, we've talked for weeks about you have to decide who is firing Matt Nagy if you're going to fire Matt Nagy, and it's hard to justify putting Ryan out there to say, hey, Matt, we're going to let you go, and then 2 weeks later say, hey, Ryan, we're going to let you go, and have this whole domino effect. The other part of this, Cap, is that these rule changes allow for you to interview coaches the last 2 weeks of the season, but there also aren't going to be a whole ton of teams getting in that line early, right? You look at the way these standings shape up in the NFL, and there are teams that may fire their coach that are still in the hunt, quote unquote. The Bears' next opponent, the Minnesota Vikings, is a team that may have a coaching change this offseason, but they're not going to launch Mike Zimmer while they're still in the hunt and really on the heels of the football team and the 49ers for that those last two spots in the NFC. And so it doesn't feel like there's going to be a whole wave of teams doing that early this year to get the process started. And so then when you really zoom out and you say, okay, it's only another 2 weeks, how much is that detrimental? I don't think it's a major detriment if you wait until the end of the season and just do it as they always have.
And that's the end.
There it is, our media sound bites for the week. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, I took some notes. I don't know where you want me to start, but
start at the top.
At the top, I'm not one of these guys because there are a lot of them who suddenly think that Fields is never going to do anything. Like I was reading, there are people saying this kid's a bust. It was another bad pick, and I'm not there. I'm absolutely not there. But the thing that Obranovich was saying, look, I'm not a quarterback whisperer. So, and I've never played the position. So I don't know about his windup. I won't pretend to be some film expert. I certainly didn't know that, but I trust OB's judgment on that. That's jarring because Obranovich was someone who's been supporting this kid the whole season and saying that he's the best player on the team, that kind of stuff. But from my perspective, I will say it just feels so hard with Fields in there just to complete a pass. It just feels like everything is just so difficult. There's never anything that's just fluid and like you're in a rhythm and boom, like Rodgers, boom, boom. Like I'm not expecting him to be the MVP, but it just feels like everything is just so tough to complete a pass. He's got to get away from three guys and he's got to run and the guy's got the throw's too high and the receiver's got to make a great catch. It's just like 10 things need to go right for a pass to be completed. And that's my big criticism of Fields at this point. It's just, or maybe that's on coaching too.
Yeah. Well, and so I want to add to that. He does have a loopy delivery, and this is something that Greg Gabriel and Danny Shimon on the shows that they have on the network have been talking about for weeks. Danny even mentioned it months ago, before Fields was drafted. It is a long wind-up delivery, and in the NFL, that nanosecond can cost you, and that can be corrected because Aaron Rodgers came out of college with that same delivery. It's just something that cannot be changed overnight. So that's where Obranovich is wrong. If he thinks that the Bears coaching staff, the 5 coaching staffs that they were criticizing, 5 coaches in the backfield, if they think that that's something that can be corrected overnight, particularly when the guy is getting ready to play a game on Sunday, they're dreaming. That takes a while. This guy's motion, he's had it. That's muscle memory that he's had for years. And so it's going to take a long off season, and it could even take long. I've noticed that in some games, he hardly does it at all. And then in other games, he does it a lot. He falls into that habit. So I bet that John DeFilippo, his quarterback coach, has been working with him on that. But I think that there are times when Fields perhaps because of the pressure of the moment, perhaps because of the opponent, perhaps because of just old faulty muscle memory, that he falls into these mistakes. He holds on to the ball too long. He has that loopy delivery. Sometimes when he starts to take off, he takes his eyes from downfield too quickly. There was a play in the Packers game where he ran for substantial yards, but he had Jakeem Grant wide open on the right side. I wish I had the videotape. I'll try to have it for Bare Truth on Thursday. So those are things that we expect Justin Fields, because of his intelligence, because of his dedication to improving himself, that he's going to correct. Now, hopefully he will continue to get good, or I should say better, quarterback coaching than he's been getting now. But I'm not too worried about that. But it was an issue in the Packer game. You could see that it affected his performance.
But is it just me, or doesn't it seem like it's just so hard to complete a pass?
Well, I think it is you. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Not just the Green Bay game.
Yeah, I understand.
No, I'm on I'm on this guy's bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I think he's the right pick.
Yeah.
But I just think at this juncture, that's my biggest criticism of him, and it's vague. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just saying that's the thing I take away. Even if it's just like a 4-yard pass to Kmet, it's never easy to complete. Well, of course, Kmet would drop it or just wouldn't stretch out.
That's part of the problem.
And Mooney's having a tough year. I know we went over that last week. You said technically he hasn't had a lot of drops because they're not counting the contested balls as drops.
Right.
But he's not catching anything contested this year.
Yeah.
And that was like last year. It's all he did was catch passes. Mooney's having a tough year. I'm not trying to say that A-Rob is just going through the motions, but man, if someone's arguing that, it's hard for me to disprove that. It just feels like everyone is underperforming at this juncture on terms of the passing game. With that said, they ran Montgomery on a nice delayed draw that got a big gain at some point, and you're just thinking, why is this man invisible? Especially when you bring Tevin in, and I'll say this. I thought that I'm glad I didn't know what Olin said, and I forget who acknowledged it. Olin said, "Well, give this kid a break and let's." I kind of felt that way too. I was like, "Look, man, it's his first action.
Right.
It's in Green Bay. It's in prime time. It doesn't matter how tough you think you are, how tough I think I am. There's no way that this guy wouldn't go in and feel, even if he doesn't want to feel emotion." He's going to feel nervous. It's his first fucking game. Right. And suddenly he's on national television at the hated rivals. That's his first moment. And it's unfortunate for Justin that's his first moment because he's the one taking the punishment. But I think if Peters can't play Sunday, which I don't know how severe Peters' injury was, but I would think Tevin's probably going to be better next week. A full week of practice. Because you got a week, the game's on Monday versus Sunday.
Right.
I'm not ready to say that he sucks either.
No,
it's way given the moment, he probably did the best he could do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the guy has not had any practice, off-season practice. He's had 3 padded practices since he came back from injury. So, it's way too early. The issue, though, is because now Matt Nagy says that he may look at Larry Borum at left tackle. So why, if they like Larry Borum at left tackle so much, which is something
why didn't he go over there first?
Exactly. And
it doesn't matter who our coach is. We're always fucking with our linemen and putting them in different positions.
It doesn't make any sense at all to me that they came into this game not prepared with a plan that made sense if Peters got hurt, because clearly if they thought Tevin Jenkins was ready, they would have told Peters, "Hey, Peters, you've done great for us this year. We want to take a look at the young guy because he's been practicing really well. He looks good. And so we want to put him in there." Peters would have understood, but they knew that Jenkins wasn't ready. they knew it, and so they should have had a backup plan at left tackle that made sense, whether it's Borum or Alex Bars or my mother. Something that made more sense than throwing poor Tevin Jenkins out there before he was completely ready. I mean, he met the media a few days ago before that game, and he said, I'm fine, sitting back and watching Peters and learning and so forth. So it didn't really even sound like his head was totally into playing, but it is what it is.
I think he'll be better for it, though. I really do.
I do too, because he's a tough kid. He's a tough,
and he survived a nightmare.
Yes, exactly. And what they should have done is, because he's such a tough guy, if you were to watch any of his college tape, this guy takes pride in run blocking, and he takes the guy that he's up against and he drives him to the ground, and he likes to keep him on the ground. He likes to, he likes to give that little extra and stuff. They should have run behind him more. That would have given him more confidence. And in fact, that one big play, I think it was a touchdown. Tevin Jenkins was out leading the run blocking, and that looked pretty good. So he didn't have a terrible game by any means, but there were some mistakes that were kind of momentum changers, like strip sack. He should have had more help on that. He should have had somebody lined up. If you're going to, throw a 7-step drop pass, that means you got to hold those outside pass rushers for a little longer time. And Jenkins really needed help on that play. Instead, he didn't get it. Strip fumble, momentum changes, blah, blah, blah.
I don't mean to beat the proverbial dead horse, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Jay Cutler. I love Jay Cutler. You know that. And what did Jay do? Held on the ball too long and got strip sacked a lot because he held the ball too low, or threw a lot of pick sixes against the Packers. And I love Jay. But okay, so what are we talking about? Poor mechanics, like you said, muscle memory. Well, that goes back to Rex Grossman. We were always hearing about his muscle memory. And how many times can we see our quarterback getting killed because our line sucks? That goes back almost a generation now, seemingly. And our quarterback getting strip sacked or throwing a pick six. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter who the Packers quarterback is, whether it's Favre or Rodgers, they're throwing that slant. We can't stop it. They're doing those pick plays that should be called offensive pass. They actually called one on Sunday, which was just hard to believe. But usually they pick our guys. They never call it. It's still that play on Vildor. I was emotional when I sent the tweet, but I'm telling you, that was as bad as the Don Mikowski play in '89. The overtime, the going across the line of scrimmage play. And Mike Ditka demanded that we throw an asterisk in the Bears, media guide showing that we didn't really lose that game. I would be good with that this week. I mean, I know Green Bay ended up at 45 though, so it's hard to say that, but man, that play, that was egregiously bad, that penalty. And especially when you show the play that you tweeted, the play where a Packers guy did it like times 4 in terms of the length of the duration that he was out of bounds, and the Packers didn't get a flag thrown them at all.
Unbelievable that happened. Unbelievable.
It always happens. It's the same thing. Oh, like when we get into these highlights, it's the same fucking thing. For a generation now, everything goes the same way. Every time I watch a game, it doesn't matter who we're talking about, what Bears quarterback it is, what line it is. It's the same thing. It's exhausting. And if you don't believe me, wait till you see some of these highlights.
Jamal Lewis has asked the question, why is Nagy still using empty set game plan with a rookie quarterback who has cracked ribs? That's a great question, Jamal.
Great question, and a great segment there that you had on with David Haw, saying you come out of overtime and immediately you expose his ribs. And then the second play, he was saying you should be protecting your lineman, but what are you doing? You're exposing him as well. It's just, man, when you're one of your best players on offense, if not the best player, is your back. And how many carries did he have?
Yeah, 1 in the second half, David Montgomery.
I was going to say it couldn't have been, but 10.
Yeah. I think it was 11 in the first half and 1 in second.
I mean, he's your asset. At the very least, start fucking let's screen.
Yes, exactly.
Use some short passes. Like, he was just completely underutilized, but I'm not surprised. Matt Nagy's thing this week clearly was we're going to get Grant involved heavily, and that worked out well. That's great. But it's like he can't do more than one thing at a time. It's like if one person shines, it's at the expense of somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can't just share the wealth here.
Right. You think Cole Kmet is a bust? A lot of people
Yes.
are asking that question, and a lot
Yes.
of people agree with what you just said. You think he's a bust this early?
Yes, absolutely. I'm done with Cole Kmet.
He's
I
in
hope
his
I'm
second-
wrong. I hope I have to put my own dick in my mouth and gag and complain about or show how stupid I am. Kmet's a bust.
This is his second season. You don't think it give him a little bit more time?
What have I said the whole time we've done this show? It feels like Kmet, every time I see him, is stumbling and bumbling and falling down. It's like he's always got on the wrong cleats. He's always falling down. And if he's got one guy to beat and just needs 1 yard, he can't get that 1 yard. As soon as he gets hit, he goes down. He drops way too many passes. Shit, I've got a station off here. Hang on.
No problem, brother. Tooch and a bunch of other people in the chat room are saying Kmet is only 22 years old, and J Rock says he's a good blocking tight end. Yeah, I don't think that this guy. I think this guy is far from a bust. Yes, he needs to get better in order to, play at like one of the elite tight ends in the business, and he probably will never be that. But he could be a Kyle Rudolph of the Vikings. He could be. Trying to think of good tight ends that we've had in Chicago. I can't think of very many. He's not going to be Greg Olsen because he's not a pass catching extraordinaire tight end like Greg Olsen was, but he can be a good blocking tight end with a guy who makes, catches. Hopefully his hands are going to get better. He's not going to make these monumental drops. I do worry about his mental toughness because sometimes, when you make those drop passes, it's lack of concentration. It's just not being totally tuned into the game. And so if anything that worries me about Cole Kmet is maybe he lacks the mental toughness to get him. Like he was complaining about, we didn't know whether Matt Nagy was going to be here. It did bother me this week. Come on, guy. I know you're only 22 years old in the league, but don't let that bother you. Stay focused on playing football and being the best tight end in the league. Anyway, so
I don't even know if he's the best tight end on the team.
Well, so you think
I would play Jesse James or Jimmy Graham or anybody. What's the other guy's name? Horsted. I would play Horsted, I think, more than I would him.
I can't believe that Jesper Horsted is been deactivated for so many games this season. We need to find out if this guy is the guy who caught a touchdown pass in his first pass thrown to him this season, or is he just kind of a mediocre guy who can fill in once in a while? I think he can be an excellent pass catching tight end and would be a good complement to Kmet's blocking tight end. So I don't know what the hell he's doing on the bench, and I don't know what the hell Jimmy Graham is doing on this team. I mean, you pay coaches to mentor your players. You don't need Jimmy Graham around to mentor Cole Kmet or anyone else. You could have used that $9 million on something much more valuable.
Like Kyle Fuller. I don't care if he's been benched in Denver. There's no way that you could tell me that Kyle's not better than anybody on this team right now in the secondary.
Exactly. And what about?
And that includes Jalen Johnson or whatever Hub was calling him, Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, what was that about?
What was he on a plane? What was that noise?
I don't know. I tweeted out in the chat room that I think he was in his convertible driving around. That was kind of weird.
Wasn't Hub kind of? God, how do I say? I don't want to say. I have no personal animosity toward him for anything, but like his hits, do they kind of bore you?
Yeah, occasionally. I like Hub a lot, but I think he's got to be like 15, 20 years older than me. So maybe he's reached retirement age. And
did you ever have like a college course, like, or even public school, whatever, like where they make you sit down and watch an old projector?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like sure. It's like a science film. Like I had geology in college, in our labs, we would. Despite the fact that it's in the early 2000s, we're sitting there watching something at like 8 a.m. on a Wednesday on a projector from the early 70s about rocks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, man. I just feel like I would convert to Islam if it meant I didn't fall asleep right now. That's why I feel like when Hub is the guy playing the projector for me about fucking rocks at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to say the Green Bay Packers, they had injuries to their defensive backfield. And so there was a guy named on the practice squad of the Arizona Cardinals in October 6th. The Packers picked them
Oh,
up.
the guy that got the pick six on us.
Yep, Rasul Douglas. Not only has he got a pick six on us, he's been accumulating a lot of interceptions and good play over the last few weeks for the Packers. This guy was there for the Chicago Bears. But what does the guy he was the pro personnel director for the Saints for several years. That was his job, to look at other teams' rosters and say, yeah, they got a decent cornerback over there in Arizona. And with all the injuries that we have, and with us not trusting Artie Burns, and with us having to play Marquise Christian and Crawford, we should bring in Rasul Douglas. No, they ignored him. What happened? The Packers pick him up. And like you've been saying, the theme of this show, it's the same old fucking shit. It happens over and over
again. If you
asked
him this question, like if you were talking to Pace, which you would never be able to talk to Ryan Pace, even if you had credentials and were there every week, he's not going to talk to you.
No.
But even if you did, he would say, Aldo, he'd be like, we like our guys. We like our cornerback room.
Yes, that's what they say. That's what they say. Exactly.
We like our cornerback room. It's always the room.
That's
We
unbelievable.
like our guys.
Unbelievable.
And I guarantee he would call you Aldo.
Yeah. By the way,
he sounds like Sean Penn on Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I love what 4,000 Clovers put up in the chat room when Kaplan was talking about the "we're having fun" comment. 4,000 Clovers said, "Well, to be honest, Belichick would not say he's having fun, even if he was at an orgy." That's a great line. 4,000 Clovers.
I was conflicted on that one.
Really? Why?
I got to be honest with you. We, myself included, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, look at me, I'm above the fray. I'm part of the mob that wants this guy going too.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we're being too hard on him now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is he supposed to say? Like, for one, he's a head coach. He should like his profession.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we're winning the fucking game. Like, I would have preferred if he would have said, man, I'm having fun, but it's not going to be good enough until we win, or something like that. We need to come back with a tough second, whatever cliche.
Right.
So he revealed a little bit of emotion at that time that he was, he's like, hey, we're in this, we're winning.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that George Allen would have said, maybe he was a little bit paranoid and would have been like, how are they going to cheat us in the second half? But I'm just saying, a coach that lives on emotion, someone like George Allen,
mm-hmm.
that wouldn't have slightly confessed that he was having a good time. Like, everyone doesn't have to be stoic and, oh, Belichick says this, and like, maybe that's not his style. I think we're just looking for reasons to be upset about him now, if that's what we're criticizing.
I agree to a degree. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I do think that words matter. And, I've coached CEOs and top corporate executives on how to deal with the media. And so sometimes you got to be sensitive to what is it that people are thinking about me. Well, right now, Matt, I would say they think you're a fucking clown. And so when you're interviewed, you have to kind of present yourself as still struggling, it's not enough. We had fun that first half, but we have to duplicate our efforts. I'm sad, but while it was fun, I'm sad that we're only winning by X amount of points. He has to really be careful with what he says, because he's a target, and anything that he says now, every that he says in a press conference, people are going to say, oh, poor guy, he's fucking losing his mind and stuff. So I understand why people are upset with that. It did immediately ring as, oh no, he shouldn't have said that. But I agree with you. It is nice too that he is showing that he was happy. Somebody in the chat, or maybe it was in the piece itself, saying he was happy because they never scored that many points before. So it was fun, right? So I don't know. I wanted to also, based on what we just heard, I was going to say that, play calling for rookie quarterbacks in the National Football League is generally pretty fucking bad. Because you see what's going on with Zach Wilson at the Jets. You see what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. It was Boomer Esiason who was talking about this. It's not like it's Matt Nagy that's the only terrible play caller. A lot of these play callers just think that they're playing Madden football, and they want to create all these big plays, explosive plays. They don't have a rhyme or reason. They don't have a strategy in their scheming and so forth. That's what it seems like to us average fans. And
can I add to that real quick?
Please do.
Your acknowledgement of that is, I'm taking it in a different direction, but it's based upon what you said.
Okay.
That's exactly why I don't want a college coach.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know Meyer was good at Florida. He was good at Ohio State. And now there are people saying that he may be one and done in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I don't want a guy that's coming from college for next season. I want someone that can come in here. My wet dream would be if Mike Tomlin would get fired in Pittsburgh. And you just say, hey, Mike, you're our general manager and you're the coach. Let's go. I want somebody that commands respect and isn't trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And I don't mean like John Fox either, who we probably should have given him more credit, but it's just his demeanor and his condescending disposition, I think, led to a lot of people not liking him. Mm-hmm. But somebody like that has some cred, that can fucking just like a Ditka type that can control this team and not try to be their buddy, but not try to be the young guy who's figuring it out. Matt Nagy was the hot commodity trying to figure it out. We don't need a guy that's figuring it out. We need a guy that knows how to win.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say Mike Tomlin, because I was thinking about him the other day, and I know people in Pittsburgh are starting to get fed up with him, despite the fact that this guy has been coaching a lot of good football teams. And I don't think what's going on in Pittsburgh right now is his fault. It's the roster. I mean, it's Big Ben aging, and but they're still fighting hard. I think he's a smart coach. I think he's a disciplinarian. I'd love to see him come to the Chicago Bears. I also know that McCaskey leans on the Rooney family a lot for advice. So maybe Rooney should McCaskey should talk to Rooney and say, hey, if you guys are going to fire him, can you put in a good word for us here in Chicago?
It would have been great for us if we could have gotten Bill Cowher when he was still really connected. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like it's been too long now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when Cowher first left Pittsburgh, it feels like we're right when Lovey got fired, I guess.
Yes.
Somewhere through, if we could have, because Cowher was only a few years removed.
Right.
But someone that has that respect and that credibility, that's what I wish that the Bears could get.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we need more than anything, is just someone that looks like, this guy is going to be the pilot, and we're comfortable. We may get some turbulence, but this flight's going to be okay because we know he's our guy.
Yep.
And if we've got our quarterback whom we think could be that guy, if you just got the coach now, I think that goes a long way for a smooth trip.
Yep. One other comment that I had on the audio clips was Dan Wiederer, your good buddy, saying that it's okay, I'm paraphrasing, that it's okay to keep Nagy to the end of the season because most coaches, most teams won't be employing that. It won't be firing coaches at the end of the season to get a jump start on their coaching search. So it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. I take exception with Dan Wiederer on this one. He's got to realize that what George McCaskey needs to do now, first and foremost, is to win back the trust of the fans. So how do you do that? You do it by making a bold move. You do it by announcing that Matt Nagy has been fired with 2 weeks left to go in the season. You make it by saying we're bringing in an executive vice president, and here he is now, because he should be looking for an executive vice president or executive president of football operations. Should have been looking 2-3 weeks ago. And so he needs to make a big move to keep Nagy through the end of the season in what clearly could be 4 more straight losses to end the season. Is suicide. It's basically telling the Bears fans, by the way, thank you for your money. Thank you for buying all the shit we sell. Thank you, you suckers. We'll see you in January at the press conference. He can't do that. He has got to come out with a huge, bold move and galvanize Bears fans. It's like, if he were to have fired Matt Nagy on Monday morning after the loss to the Packers, next week's game against the Vikings, that stadium would be full. it would be full.
Absolutely.
Right? And instead, it's going to be probably half empty, if that. So,
and as soon as if the Bears start getting like struggling and in behind, you're going to start hearing the fire Nagy chants.
Oh my goodness. It probably is going to start as soon as he walks out of the tunnel. I think that's partly the reason why they've kind of made changes with the tunnel now. They kind of, I don't know if Nagy's been running out with the team. I saw some video of him running out by himself, and the few players that were around, they didn't even acknowledge him. There's something weird going on with this organization. What else in those media clips you said you took some notes? Anything else you want to comment on?
I covered most of it. I was thinking, again, I liked what David Haas said. Mm-hmm. I still think it's too early to say Tevin's, God, he got through that nightmare. He should be better. Like I said, Fields, it worries me that it's just so tough to get just a completed pass. Hub bores me to fucking tears. And if you have Patrick Manley with him too, like, oh God, I'd rather just go shave my balls. Darnell Mooney, like I said, is having a really bad second season. It's kind of quietly bad, and that worries me, thinking that he's going to be the number one guy next season.
Mm-hmm. Yep, indeed. All right, let's get to some more bad news.
Oh boy!
You want to do number 10 on your list of?
Oh yeah, I do. So we're going to start this. So this will be. Let me set this up.
Please do.
This is, again, a day in the life of a Bears fan. So you say this is kind of an insignificant game. That's why I made it number 10. But I just wanted to revisit. So we'll go back to 1996.
All right, but a lot of people have joined us in the chat room in the last half hour. So
let me explain whatever. Okay,
exactly.
So we're going to go with the top 10 sneaky bad Bear Packer games, not the ones you're used to. Because again, why do we have to keep experiencing, oh, there's Caleb Haney and he's been picked off by a fat guy and the Packers are going to the Super Bowl? We don't need to see that again. Okay? We know about that. We know that Mitch and in Khalil's first game had this huge lead and then they lost. We don't need to watch that. Oh, Randall Cobb's open. Oh, yeah. Okay, we know. We don't have to watch those games. But these are 10 that are maybe sneaky bad that you have forgotten potentially. Mm-hmm. I didn't even put the Don Mikowski 89 thing in there.
Thank you.
Because again, it's just like a cliche at this point, ones that we always reference.
Yes.
So I tried to put 10 in here that maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, okay. Oh fuck yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That's the idea of my count.
Not you. You would never forget about it. That's the thing.
Yeah. I wanted to go with 10 that maybe, like I said, sneaky bad.
Right. So these aren't from the broadcast of the game. These are highlights of the game done by ESPN or somebody else, correct?
ESPN, NFL Network, or Comcast Sports Chicago.
All right. So you want to announce what number 10 is, and then I'll roll it?
Yeah, sure. Number 10 was going to be is Green Bay at Chicago from 1996. The Packers on the upswing here now. They're going to win the Super Bowl that year. As Bear fans, we finished 9-7 in 95. Had a career year from Eric Kramer. The sky appeared to be the limit. We got Brian Cox in because our linebacking crew and our defense, and specifically overall at 95, was the reason we didn't win a lot more games.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we think we got a team. Kramer hurts his neck, and this happened. So you'll get to see David Craig quarterback for us, and just the myriad of things that typically happen in a Bears-Packers game.
Here we go.
Here we go from the Windy City. Dave Wannstedt's Bears. He hasn't had much success against Mike Holmgren. First quarter, no score. Dave Craig, he's been 5-0 lifetime against the Pack, but intercepted by Wayne Simmons. And I know, Tom, you love good coverage by the linebacker.
Dave Craig with pretty good pass protection, and Wayne Simmons, a pretty incredible play right here. Looks over his inside shoulder and then able to refocus on the football and take it away from the receiver for the interception.
The Packers really putting their teeth into this one. That's Robert Brooks' mouthpiece in case he gets in the jaws he did last week. Brian Cox is blitzing, but Aaron Taylor, the young lineman, picks him up and fars to Brooks for 8 yards. Good read on the line by the Pack. Same drive, less than 10 minutes left. Favre scrambling. Robert Brooks. Hey, there's the teeth. There's the spike. Packers lead it 7-0, Tom.
Yeah, Packers squelch the Bears' rushing attack as well. George Kuntz quickly through the line here, hitting Rashawn Salam in the backfield. Only 19 first-half rushing yards for the Bears.
Second quarter, keep your eye on the let me see here. More on page. Favre He's led the pack to 3 scores at the end of the half this season. That's Antonio Freeman. Gets hit by Marty Carter. 39 seconds to go. Whoa. Malley. That's Freeman right there who gets nailed.
Berman screwed up.
And that's Ron Nelly. That's Keith Jackson. I'm so excited to say it. There it is. 14-3 the pack. After interception by Doug Evans, that score came with 39 seconds to go in the half. With 10 seconds to go, what are you going to do?
Well, we'll take a look at the beginning and the end of this play as Freeman bashes that ball up against the stadium wall. Alonzo Spellman here, as he's rushing the passer, takes the 2 steps necessary to draw the personal foul, and then at the tail end of the play, you see Freeman with a great job of getting up over a falling Mark Carrier for a touchdown catch.
Third quarter of the pack leading 20-6. Jeff Mick Jagger kicks it off. And Don Beebe, look at him go, make the move behind the wall there at the 25 and the 30, and look at him go. Don Beebe starting in the role of Jeff Query. The Flash. He's gone. It's 27-6, the pack. Look at the blocking, Tom.
Yeah, BB, a great job here of following his wedge and then looking for the seam. And right there, you see the kind of cut he had to make to get to the seam. Once he spots it, goes past a wave of 8 Bears, getting to the opposite side of the field, and he's gone.
The Packers still not done scoring. 27-6 in the third quarter. Favre off the back foot. Look at Antonio Freeman from off the ranch in Montana and into Soldier Field in Chicago. Does the dance as he should. Beautiful concentration. A huge day for Freeman. 7 for $146. Another whole home 4 touchdown day for Brett Favre. He is the leader of the pack. They're in Shangri-La as they up their mark to 5-1. The Packers roll the Bears 37-6. In this division, coaches have each other's numbers, and just as Green Bay can't beat Minnesota, Mike Holmgren is now 6-1 against the Saints. Brian.
What an ass kicking that was.
Oh, my God. And then that highlight, they used to show that highlight of Antonio Freeman, and rightfully so. For a couple of years, that was a play that they would show on, packages and such. It's kind of forgotten now, but just another typical Bears-Packers Sunday.
And you're right. I mean, it does feel familiar. It's like we've seen this movie before, whether it's with Aaron Rodgers in the lead role or Brett Favre in the lead role or Devontae Adams in the co-starring role or Antonio Freeman in the co-starring role.
Robert Brooks, Sterling Sharp, wherever you want to go.
Just so depressing. Now, what year was that in Wannstedt's tenure?
That was year number 4 for Dave.
Okay, so that's when things started to go haywire on him.
Yeah, that's when he lost Kramer, and it got really bad. He finished 7-9 that year, and then the Rick Meyer trade happens, and then he's 4-12 and 4-12, and he's gone.
Oh, gosh. Should we do another one?
Sure. This is everyone's hero, Kyle Lorton.
Mm-hmm.
And against Aaron Rodgers in his first ever game against the Bears. What could happen in Aaron Rodgers' first game against the Bears in 2008?
Here it comes.
Back in the mix. 176th meeting all time with the Bears. That's a lot of meetings. Amazing. Kyle Orton back in the mix, and who knew Aaron Rodgers was a close talker? Don't know that. First quarter, second Packers possession. Rodgers to Donald Driver. No relation to Donald Draper. But Rodgers was passing like that.
Oh, they're wearing all white.
5 plays later, Rodgers to Jordan Nelson. 19-yard gain. 8th play of the drive, Rodgers to Greg Jennings. Rodgers 6 for 6 on the drive.
No, that was too easy.
Just too easy.
Just run a quick slant, coach.
I'll tell you why that was too easy. They have this built in over the years. Brett Favre started this several years ago. Take a look at this, guys. A run play is called. A run play, 94 boss on 2nd and 1. Everybody's going to come off and push your guys into the line of scrimmage. Backs are going to hit it up in there. But Aaron Rodgers and Greg Jennings say, single coverage over here. Are you kidding me? I'm running the slant. Aaron Rodgers is simply going to pop up, throw the ball on 2-step drop for the touchdown. Doesn't even tell the rest of the team. Everybody's run blocking down the field. It's a run play that they threw the touchdown.
Why not throw a flag?
You got to love it. That's a coach him up. Majorly coach him up. Second quarter now. Packers up 7-3. Rodgers to James Jones.
And Rodgers coming off of a performance that was much maligned by a lot of the Packers faithful in Minnesota last week. He was 23 of 30 against the Bears. And Ryan Grant helped balance the attack, to say the least. 18-yard gain down to the 4. Next play, here is Grant again.
And that offensive line has taken this game over.
14-3, Lambeau leaps galore. Third quarter now, it's 17-3 Green Bay. 3rd and 5 from their own 17. Rodgers to Greg Jennings, wide open. 29-yard gain. Next play, it's Rodgers to Donald Driver again. Jennings at 64 yards receiving. Driver moving chains as only he can.
This is what Aaron Rodgers really does well. He remains a passer out of the pocket, going right or left, keeps his eyes downfield.
9th play of the drive, Grant running down the sideline. That's Jordy Nelson running the interference for him up there.
Great blocking downfield.
145 yards for Grant on 25 carries on the day. Rodgers play action to Donald Lee.
When you run the ball well, you're going to have your play action pass available to you.
Kyle Orton back from that ankle injury, 13-26, only 133 yards. And then it's 4th and 10. Needing something positive, down 27-3 with half the 4th quarter remaining, and the ball's loose.
Kyle.
That's time for the Bears. Jason Hunter, big man with football, picks it up. Even he gets it in the Lambeau lead back. The Packers crush the Bears 37-3. Our Darren Horton with Ryan Grant afterwards.
How many times have you seen a big guy score against the Bears in a Green Bay jersey?
Way too many times.
I mean, if Tony Siragusa was still playing, he would have a pick 6 against us.
Yes.
This season at age 50. It's just, again, it's the same old shit. It's the same old shit. But I've got more. If we want to keep going through this, then
yeah, let's go through a few
some
more.
of these next couple are shorter. Now, let me just set this up.
Okay.
I had to put this next one in there. And I don't think the highlight showed it, but maybe it does. It's a quick highlight.
Mm-hmm.
It's back when prime time was only 45 minutes that one season in '98 for some reason, because they were going live to Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
But this is with my least favorite Bear, with the exception of Josh Bellamy, who's going to prison now, by the way.
By the way, yes, he is.
Josh Bellamy and Steve Stenstrom are my least favorite Bears of all time. Steve Stenstrom had to be in this countdown, but I don't know if this is his fault. He's going to suck this whole game in 1998, but somehow, because the Bears score him fluky special teams plays or whatever, we're going to be in the game with the ball down 6. And again, this isn't necessarily his fault, but I'm telling you, if memory serves me correctly, they get into Packers territory and he's sacked on 4 straight plays. 4 straight plays. He's fucking sacked and we lose 4 times. How does that even happen? 4 straight plays your quarterback is sacked. But this is 1998.
Okay.
Really late in the year, like week 15, I think it was. We finished 15 at Green Bay and 17. They came to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So they played 2 of the last 3 games in '98. And again, this is the end of Wannstedt's tenure here.
Okay, here it comes, number 8.
The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field. Brett Favre of the Pack have won 8 straight against the Bears. Favre, 6 fumbles last week. Oh, the pick to Walt Harris this week. Steps in front, 13-9 Bears take it up.
Harris does a great job of following Brett Favre's eyes and making a break on the football in front of Freeman. That's an easy walk to the end zone, about 12 yards.
Not many names that you recognize left for the Pack, but down 13-9 in the third. The floater to Mark Shimura. Back a couple last week. Here's another one here. 16-13 Pack. 4th quarter. Favre. Antonio Freeman playing with a busted jaw. Touchdown, 13 yards. He says, I just can't jump in. No Lambeau leap right now. You understand, huh? 23-13. Under 4 minutes to go at 26-13. And Glenn Milburn. Packers have given up a couple of returns this year, and they've given up another one. Could go all the way. 2 touchdowns on return for Milburn this year, 26-20. Bears don't get a disputed onside kick. McKinnon back here. Steve Stenstrom looking like Bobby Douglas. Down to 25. Not anymore. 2nd down. Billy Lyon with the sack. Well, here's Reggie White with the sack on 3rd down. Bringing 69 quarterbacks he's gotten in his career. Santana Johnson. Oye Kamoba with the sack on 4th down. So the Packers win a toughie against the Chicago Bears team, at least. Still playing hard for Dave Wannstedt, but the Pack win it 26-20 in a game in which Dorsey Levens ran for 105 yards. That's the most important development of the day. for the Pack. Falcons.
Only the Bears could give up 4 straight sacks at the end of a game.
Unbelievable.
That's all. It doesn't matter what era it is. The only time we've ever had is a solid line. We won a championship. Well, I shouldn't say that. The Olin Kreutz era with Lovey, when we went to the 2 times we had good offensive lines, we went to the Super Bowl. How about that? That whole era, of course, the 85 line was together for almost a decade. And but that era of line, and then the Kreutz, John Tate, that era was good too. But beyond that, we've been saying this shit for years. Like, my God, like, why can't we block the Packers? I mean, I don't even know what else to say about that one. I'll set up the next one. How about that?
That was very, very painful. By the way, it was interesting to see Mark Chimera in there. Oh, what happened to
who allegedly raped the babysitter or something, right?
Exactly. All right, number 7 on your hit parade.
Let me set this one up. The Bears start 0-3, 1-5. Okay, so it's looking bad, but the team is rallying, and they've won a bunch of games. And here we are. If we can just beat Green Bay, we're going to be back in it. We'll be 6-6, and to go from 1-5 to 6-6, quite an accomplishment for Coach Duran and what would be his last season. Of course, we're not going to get there. But if they'd have won that game, they would have been in it. And the playoff run for maybe just the last wild card, but you're in it. And they're in this game. You'll see what happens when the Bears, oh, my God, Cordell Stewart makes a throw. It's a great throw. The player, is Justin Gage wide open in the ends? Oh, he didn't catch it, did he? How many times have we seen that? Remember the playoffs last year against New Orleans? We can't catch wide open passes. And then what's going to happen? Well, we're going to be down 6 or whatever. We're driving, and Cordell's going to throw. Oh no, is that a pick 6? Of course it is. It's against the Packers.
Here it is. Numbers. What year is this again?
2003.
All right.
NFL, the Bears and the Packers at Lambeau Field. The Bears actually had clawed back into the Norris Division race. Brett Favre, 188 straight games, breaking the club record held by Hall of Famer Forrest Gregg. Brett, this was like the early days of Brett Favre. Picked up by Lance Briggs, 45 yards, and the Bears have gone into Lambeau and lead it 14-0. Couple of long-well field goals make it 14-6. And he hits Sterling Chicago, 84, Javon Walker, 22 yards, and Favre is back, 14-13. A minute 19 to go, and they have Cordell Stewart to the rookie Justin Gage. Oh, man, it would have been back on top.
What a great throw by Cordell Stewart. Gage just lets it slip right through his fingers.
And when you don't make those, then sometimes you make these. Mike McKenzie, one of the McKenzie brothers. Take off, you poser. 90 yards, touchdown. And after the Pack fought the Bears, a 14-0 lead. Brett and the Pack beat Chicago 34-21. Favre lifetime against the Bears, 20-4. McKenzie had 2 picks in the game. Ozuma, by the way, the kickoff return for the Bears, for the Packers is 7-6 and in a hunt against them.
Yeah, great sign for the Green Bay Packers. Armand Green, the 30 carries, so they had the balance. But Brett Favre, besides that pick that he threw, really was on target like the old Brett Favre before the thumb started to bother him.
Meanwhile, they were hoping that Minnesota would keep.
If you were to do the same thing like you just did with all of the 28 wins Rodgers now has lifetime against the Chicago Bears, that would be a disaster movie unlike anything Hollywood has ever made before.
You thought the Japanese culture was terrorized by Godzilla.
That's right. How unbelievable is it that the Packers land Brett Favre and then immediately afterwards Aaron Rodgers? I mean, it just and when you think about, the Bears could have had either one of them, but didn't draft or trade for them.
Favre was the fat guy who drank too much booze in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, wouldn't I like to be fat and drinking booze? What? Wait a minute, I am.
Yeah.
All right. What number are we at now?
This next one, we're getting better to a climax here. But let me set up the next one's a little bit fucked up. It's when the DVD recorders first came out, circa 03. The first ones, if the tape or something, anything about it wasn't perfect, it would pause it, like when you were recording. So this highlight's a little butchered. You'll see that it like pauses a couple. I mean, I could have gone back and re-recorded it. What difference does it make?
No need.
But I recorded this from VHS onto DVD in like 2003 as soon as I got my recorder. It's, like I said, that explains why it's the editing so like choppy in it. But two things. A, I want you to see how slow Roosevelt Williams is. This is the reason I had to include this one. Like, you'll never see a guy in the secondary that he should have scored, but for some reason was the slowest man the Bears have ever had. Even so, if McQuarters makes a block for him, he's going to score. Or if he laterals to McQuarters, we still score and we still win. But, we're not going to. It's going to pause too soon, but Jim Miller's going to fumble at the half-yard line going in. Again, another game we should have had. But this is 2002 and the nightmare that season was.
All right, here you come.
It's weather in December, getting cold and snowy and windy, and the Bears and the Packers. All those tricky Bears. Packers with him.
Nice fake.
Brad Maynard, the shovel to Dustin Lyman. Touchdown, Bears. And the same play last year, threw it to Urlacher, drew that defense this year to Urlacher. Then Jim Miller, he practiced all week with a bad elbow to John Gilmore, the rookie tight end from Penn State, 11 yards. Perso foul, packs on yardage, and surprise.
Those steroids, that worked. Jim Miller, baby.
That's Dustin Lyman, who scored both of the touchdowns, the tight end from Wake Forest. Then, end of the half, 14-6. Watch this play. David Moore with the pick.
I remember this like
the last play of the half. And then, the Packers drive it. And then
What?
look at this. He could
No. Look. Wait, but it's too fucking slow. Oh, my God. It's winded. That's part of the problem. It's a bad block. I don't want to block. I want the ball.
The Bears could have scored at the end of the half, but still they lead it 14-6. Then, third quarter, Amon Green from midfield. Rolled a tough hit right there. Jumping up to having the bruised left kneecap for Green. He leads. Same drive continuing in the 6th spot. Second option is Bubba Franks. Touchdown is
Big Bubba Franks.
But they fumbled the snap.
Oh, I remember the fumble style. Oh, no.
Tony Fisher, the rookie from Notre Dame. Yeah, and you watch what they did in their game plan. They changed nothing with Tony Fisher. That first run was for 11. The next one was for 3. He bumped through there for 10 yards and another first down. 15 again, but watch the play selection. This is just what you see it with Fisher running and cutting inside. There's another first down. So the replacement back came in and did his job. Bears started to lose some air in the tires. So actually, that Keith Trailer will do that. Down, back. They lead it 23-14. And then Tony Fisher, not Bobby Fisher, rookie 3 to Knight 6. But then Fisher, the Bears scored a touchdown late. Give the Bears the nod. I mean, their season's long been over their game.
They clinched the division, too.
The Packers win it 30-20 and win the NFC North for the first time.
You know what, Dan?
What's that?
I didn't mind that one and a couple of the other ones so much because the Bears were wearing all whites.
Oh, I like the all white. I just wanted to see how slow Roosevelt Williams was.
Oh, my gosh. I mean,
how can a guy with a member of a secondary be that slow? I mean, I remember watching that live. Like, how is this guy not scoring? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm any better, but goddamn, I couldn't have been that much worse in 2002. Like now I could be, but not in 2002. I would have been like a little worse, but I mean, God, that guy's little and has no weight on him. Why is he not quicker than that?
It's unbelievable. And then R.W. McCord says, well, I'm not going to block. I prefer the ball, please.
Well, if he'd have given it to R.W., he would have scored without much effort.
That is true. But if R.W. would have blocked, the guy might have been able to get to the sideline before he dropped dead because he looked tired. That was part of the reason he was not running very fast is my guess. All right, we're up to number 5, I believe.
Yeah. So how about 06? We're going to go to the Super Bowl. We're good, man. We're 13-2 heading into this game. It's New Year's Eve 2006 heading into 07 and Brett Favre still doing the, I don't know if I want to play ball shit anymore, like every fucking year, which is why they drafted Rodgers anyway, because this guy was whining about wanting to retire every offseason. At some point, they're like, all right, we've got to be ready whenever you fucking quit, you baby. So I don't know if my old arm's got it anymore. You know, this guy wanted roses thrown at his feet every year he played.
Yep.
But he's going to come in with the narrative of this could be my last game. And of course, Rex is thinking about what he's going to do after the game. And
Sexy
and
Rexy.
this is what we get.
500 record to play for. Of course, the big question is, was this Brett Favre's final game? His 16th NFL season, 15th as a Packer, ended in Chicago. First quarter, no score. Favre, as he's always done, fires a laser. The Donald Driver 9-yard score, 7-0 Pack. Later in the first, Rex Grossman's troubles resume. Nick Collins, all the way back, 55 yards on the pick. Green Bay, also a 13-0 lead after the extra point failed. Late in the first half, Packers trying to pad their lead. Favre to Carlisle Holiday. Favre finished 21 of 42, 285 yards. Shortly after, the 2-minute warning. It's Grossman, picked off by Patrick Dendy, who goes back 30 yards. Grossman just 2 of 12. He had 3 picks, more interceptions than completions. Third quarter now, Brian Greasy picked off by A.J. Hawk. Greasy had 2 INTs. 5 Packer interceptions in the game. Afterwards, of course, Brett Favre, all smiles. For the 22nd time, Favre walks off the field a winner over the Bears. 26-7 your final. Packers finish 8-8, but following his 285-yard performance, again, the big question is, will Brett Favre's 237th consecutive start be his last? Here was his take afterwards.
Fuck his take afterwards. Fuck his take afterwards. You'll see, again, the common theme of this is the Bears either get blown out or it's close. Ooh, and we almost win.
Yep.
But even when we go to the Super Bowl, we still have to deal with them rubbing our faces in shit. But the next one is really painful for me. The Packers are reigning, defending Super Bowl champions. We're talking about the 1997 Bears who come into the game, you guessed it, winless. The winless Chicago Bears hosting the world champions, and wouldn't you know it, the Bears have a chance to win. How will they lose this one?
I love it.
The Bears are 0-6. But the Bears had a chance to maybe make their whole season if they could upend Green Bay. And here we go from Soldier Field in Chicago. First quarter, Brett Favre looking for Bill Schrader. But it's picked off by the much-maligned Walt Harris. Return to the 21. Then everyone in the Chicago phone book named Harris said, I can play. Raymond Harris, left tackle, touchdown. Bears smelling upset. 7-0 Chicago. What about defensively, Tom?
Well, the Bears and the formula against Brett Favre doesn't change. You see him coming with the pressure. Here's 6 men, forcing Brett to throw the ball a little bit before he's ready. Then again, the Bears coming out the corners, trying to get some pressure. Again, you see Brett having to put the ball up a little bit before he's ready. And then finally another 6-man rush. Going to throw it, overthrow Antonio Freeman right there. So pressure good by the Bears at the beginning of this game.
As they did in the first half against Aikman when they played the Cowboys. Packers balled in second quarter, and that's been Favre's quarter, to Antonio Freeman, 16 yards and a first down. Marlon Forbes called for a personal foul. That is a foolish penalty, adds another 15 yards. So you can't put him that deep. The fake reverse. And then what up to Chewy Baca. Mark Shimura with a 2-yard touchdown reception, Pack within 3, 10-7. After Brian Williams' interception, Dorsey Levens in the mood for Dorsey. Wide open, though he was hurt later, had to leave. 1-yard touchdown, 14-10 Pack of the half. Eric Kramer starting for Rick Meyer. To Curtis Conway, where's this been?
Putting the deep threat back in their game is something Wannstedt's talked about all year.
But Conway's been hurt and he's back, and it changes things. But Dan, Tommy, what happens here on the play?
Well, you can see Raymond Harris split outside the tackle. It creates some space inside for the quarterback draw. Kramer does a nice job of selling the pass and then coming forward.
17-14 Bears. Favre to Chewy Baca again. His second touchdown. 12 yards for Shimura. 21-17 the Pack. Fourth quarter. Eric Kramer to Conway. Well, there's no question. It's flag day. Ty Williams hauls him down. On second and goal, Kramer to Tony Carter is edging up. St. Jordan drags a 1 yard loss. Third and goal, Harris left side to the 1. What do you do? Oh, if you want that, you got to go for it. 9.5 to go, you're down 4, haven't won a game. Quarterback sneak, Eric Kramer. Signal it.
He didn't get it. Yeah, and you look at the replay, good call by the official. His head gets into the end zone, but the ball is tucked under his arm. It never crosses the plane.
Oh, it's just Dave Wannstedt, but they would have another chance. Under 4 minutes to go on their own 22. Eric Kramer, Raymond Harris. You know about Brian Williams? Orlando Harris with the pick, setting up a field goal. Harris jumping all around like they just won the Super Bowl. Calm down now. 2 plays later at 24-17. Kramer to Chris Penn. Touchdown! 22 yards. The Bears have cut it to 24-23. Do you kick or do you go for 2? They decide to go for 2. Eric Kramer to Harris in the flat. Oh, it's incomplete. Incomplete time.
And maybe a moot point because the only way Harris gets in the end zone is if these 3 Packers go blind right after he catches it.
Oh, that's not true. Harris did not.
Interesting decision. Maybe not the best play call, that's for sure. And when you lose games, it seems like you just find another way to lose. The Bears were game, as they were earlier this year on a Monday night against the Pack. But the Packers win it 24-23. Wannstedt decided to go for 2 for the win late. After the game, second guessing?
It was a no-brainer. We told the team when we got the ball that if we get on and score, that we're going to go for the win. We were not going to go for the tie and get into a 2-minute drill.
I'm happy that my coach had enough confidence in the guys in his locker room to try to get a win. We needed a win. We sitting there doing something. Do you imagine what this type win could do for us? So that's his thought. And I appreciate that thought. And even though we didn't win the game, we went down swinging.
I would love Dave Wannstedt to take over this team from Matt Nagy for the rest of the season.
I swear to God, I would too.
He had guts, but Nagy on 4th and 1, we're going to punt the ball away.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Oh, there's no way we're going for 2. Are you kidding?"
That one was heartbreaking, but it was also cool to see the fight in the team and to listen to Wannstedt afterwards and his conviction that he made the right call and Brian Cox supporting him. That was my favorite of the 7 highlights that you've presented, but they're all incredibly depressing.
Oh, we've got 3 more, and these right here are going to be really highlights, lowlights, however you want to call it.
Oh God. All right, so let's go to number 3. You want to set it up?
2009. It's week number 1. It's the debut of Jay Cutler as a Chicago Bear, and mind you, the last time we ever wore white on white.
Oh, this is going to be even more depressing. Oh my God. Here it comes.
NFL game is what a contest in Lambeau Field. Jay Cutler making his Chicago Bear debut. His first half was a forgettable one. First quarter, second possession for Cutler. He is picked by Nick Collins, and that's after the previous 2 plays he could have been intercepted 3 times as well.
Exactly. Well, and it is one thing in the secondary. I think arguably this is the best secondary assembled in the NFL. There are certainly ball homes.
Packers are up 3-0 in the second quarter when Cutler gets things going with his rookie wide receiver, Johnny Knox. What a great name. Even better catch. Ran by Charles Woodson.
Yeah, this guy ran a 4.34 at the combine. Charles
Look at that
had
fucking
no
pro.
idea he was going to get
68 yards down to the Packer 8. 2 plays later, Cutler to Desmond Clark. Oh, boy.
Desmond.
The quarterbacks and receivers just
No wonder
on
he
the
doesn't
same
want to come on
page.
the show.
They're not in sync yet.
And then, next play,
Jay-
Johnny Jolly, the big man, leaps up. I don't know if I can say this is the best one-handed grab by 35.
Oh, you always
He's an athlete. Reading the play. It could be the only one-handed interception ever seen by a 350-pound lineman. So that's the way the Bears come in with no points. However, they get points here when Daniel Manning runs down Aaron Rodgers in the end zone. Rodgers was hectored all night long. 3 times he was sacked in the first half. It's 3-2 in this game. Less than 5 minutes to go in the half.
What is he doing?
To throw his 3rd pick of the half.
On paper, Hughes defense at 3-4 kept blitzing Jay Cutler, and he was throwing it up for grabs for much of the night.
But Tremont Williams loses the football towards the end of this play. Lovie Smith challenges it. He thought Williams may have fumbled the ball through the end zone. Throws the challenge flag. It was upheld as an interception. No fumble through the end zone. Packers get the ball One play later from the 1, and Ryan Grant pops it in, and the Packers lead 10-2 at halftime. The first 10-2 halftime score in the NFL since 1968. Third quarter we go. Cutler got his head on straight in the locker room. What a beautiful throw right there on 3rd and 9 to Earl Bennett for a 21-yard gain. 5 plays later, Cutler hits who else but Devin Hester. 36-yard score, and the Bears are down 10-9 just like that. Nice pitch, nice catch, nice play, nice game. It's a 1-point contest. 3rd and 2, 6 and change to go in the third quarter. Next Bears possession, Desmond Clark over the middle, hangs on, led to a Robbie Gold field goal, and the Bears take a 12-10 lead. Fourth quarter we go. That's your score. Bears lining up to punt on their own 26, and suddenly Garrett Wolf, the up man, has the ball, and the Packers are thanking the Bears for doing that.
That was dumb.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting it. This is like...
What? It appears the long snapper, Patrick Manley, was the one who made that call, and Lovie Smith challenged the play, thinking that perhaps the Packers had too many men on the field. It really wouldn't have mattered anyway. Had the Packers had too many men on the field. But the bottom line is that the Packers got a field goal out of it. And on the next possession, when the Packers think they've got the Bears off the field, this is called illegal contact on Al Harris.
Terrible call. Boy.
So the Bears aren't off the field. The Packers defense still on the field. And Jay Cutler and the rest of the offense was having a field day after that. Devin Hester, 24-yard gain down the sideline. 9 plays later, 3rd and goal from the 3. Cutler trying to get in the end zone with Greg Olsen, but it's too high. And the Bears do, however, get the field goal. So the extra set of downs they got thanks to that penalty gives them a 2-point lead. Less than 2 minutes to go in the game. Aaron Rodgers has been looking deep all game long. He doesn't go there. He slides down to the 50. Take another look. As Rodgers is hit by Lance Briggs. They didn't call anything on him, but anyway,
wide fucking
next
open.
pass is a touchdown to Greg Jennings, 50-yard.
How many more times can we see a wide open
ball fake?
Yeah.
Everybody bites, even the
It's
secondary.
like the same fucking shit.
It's not like you're going to come in and actually make the tackle.
Horror movie on you.
21-15.
Thank you, Nate Pastor. You're getting paid
Trying to lead the Bears back down to victory.
Eddie
Al Harris
Jackson.
steps in front of the pass, and it is the 4th and final pick of Cutler's night as the Packers come from behind in a bruising battle, 21-15 to win.
Unbelievable.
Oh, if you think that one's bad, the next one is from 2003. It's the first game ever at the new Soldier Field, and wouldn't you know it, it's a Monday Night Football, and the Chicago Bears are going to host the Green Bay Packers.
Mostly
Could
Packers and more Packers. The brand spanking new Soldier Field 20-month renovation project complete. The place is a palace. The team, the tenants, considerably less spectacular, and Brett Favre, well, he always seems to do quite well against the Bears. 10-1 in road games against Chicago. 9-1 in Soldier Field, 1-1 down there in Champaign. First quarter, no score. Amon Green, 3 minutes in, and back.
Thank you, Jerry Azuma.
60-yard touchdown run for number 30. Take another glance, because before Jerry Azuma could get laughed at in the film session, look at that, just PlayStations, the poor fella, and off he goes, 60 yards for the touch, 7-0. Later in the first, 3rd and 5 for the Pack. Favre, Donald Driver. Well, the Bears can take solace in the fact that one did not go for 99 yards and a touchdown. It led to a field goal, 10-0. First quarter, Brad Maynard back to punt, and that did not happen so well. Got to be solved in the kicking game, as Reese Davis says, and that was not. Look at it again, Marcus Wilkins. There's an arrow there. Apparently the Bears didn't see. He comes clean.
What a
Jailbreak,
fucking
got
idiot.
it. Maynard's not happy. Couple of plays later, Amon Green, there he is again. 166 meeting between these two teams.
It looks like Eddie Jackson's acting.
First time any team has put up 17 in the first quarter. Into the second, Favre spinning away from the rush and going to complete a pass to Tony Fisher. Packers have had one QB for gosh knows how long. That's Favre. In that same span, the Bears have used 15. Watch again. Favre eludes the rush. Pump fakes give Brian Urlacher. Now we go the other way away from Urlacher, and oh boy. That's just him making plays. Favre then to William Henderson. Your fullback's open, 14 yards, 20th career TD pass for Favre at Soldier Field. Jim Belushi, Chicago man, in the booth. Give a call with Big Al. Thomas over the outside. First go. By Barnett, but there's a flag down. There's a flag. You may not, but let's see what the call is here. That's a touchdown now.
You really need to see what the call is here. It's sadness. Fourth quarter, Chicago down 24-9. This time, Thomas, clean blocking. There's no holding across.
I used to like that guy a lot.
I love Anthony Thomas.
Yep.
110 yards on the night. That time he is in. He's the fourth back in team history now to rush for more than 2,000 yards. 24-16. It's a one-possession game until Favre to Javon Walker. Number 1 pick a year ago. 9-yard TD is good. One more glance. Watch. Fakes inside, goes outside, and poor Booker T. Washington product. R.W. McQuarters gets the Aggie factor. Packers go up 31-16, and they finish it off 38-23. Brett Favre now passing Dan Fouts for fifth all-time in passing yards in NFL.
One more. I'll take you back to 2010.
Okay.
That's the year the Bears are going to lose the NFC Championship game to Green Bay. But you may or may not know that Green Bay, or may not remember, Green Bay had to beat the Bears to simply make the playoffs.
Right.
If the Bears would have won in Week 17, Green Bay doesn't even make the playoffs. Wouldn't that be great? Because Green Bay was the lowest seed and had to go through the I don't remember who they beat in the first game. Maybe the Falcons. And, no, they beat the Falcons, I think, in the second round because the Falcons were the first seed. The Bears were second.
Okay.
I think they beat the Eagles maybe and then beat Atlanta. And then by virtue, that meant the championship game would be in Chicago. But none of that, all of that's a moot point if we can just win in Week 17. And to Lovey's credit, he tried to. This was a 10-3 slugfest if you want to revisit the number one game on my list of heartbreakers. Because, again, if you win this, you don't even have to face Green Bay, and maybe you go on and win the Super Bowl.
No matter what happened today. So all the Bears could do was end the Packers season. They needed a win to get the final wild card in the NFC. First quarter, Forte, 22 yards shy of 1,000 for the season, and he gets it with just 2 minutes left in that first quarter. First and 10, Forte takes it outside, a gain of 25 yards. He had a big afternoon as he goes for 91. A little bit later on in the drive, 3rd and 8, Cutler gets sacked by A.J. Hawk and Jarius Wynn for a loss of 9. Bears would punt, and that was a theme in the first half of this one. Second quarter, Bears D does some damage too. 1st and 20, Aaron Rodgers under pressure, sacked by Urlacher and Henry Melton. Green Bay punts a few plays after that. Under 8 minutes left in the half, Cutler scrambling on 3rd and 2 makes a great play to Forte. Jim, you liked what you saw here from number 6 moving to his left.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get those shoulders square as you're rolling to your left. Watch him get his shoulders square to the target. Boom, delivers. Still a little bit behind Forte, but it gives him the ability to complete that football.
That's the mechanics that you like to see from Jay Cutler. But the drive ends with a sack. 5 plays later, Cutler dropped for a loss of 8 by Eric Walden. Bears would settle for a field goal.
I don't like pass protection. Obviously, they saw a lot of blitzes today, the Chicago Bears. If that was the thought process to get the improved pass protection versus different blitz look, they got a little bit of work to do.
Jay was sacked 6 times. Packers 1st and 10 in the 3rd. Rodgers going for Greg Jennings, but Peanut Tillman with a tremendous pick. And then Charles takes it the other way, a return of 42 yards as he weaves his way to the middle of the field. Second takeaway for the Bears D. They're in business in Green Bay territory, but just 4 plays later, Cutler makes a mistake, looking for Johnny Knox in the end zone.
Yeah, watch Rasheed Davis. He's open down on the flat here, just high-low in the corner. Rasheed Davis wide open, throws it. Minimum, if he doesn't throw that interception, makes a better decision, Robbie Gould's kicking a field goal, points left off the board there.
Late 3rd, 3-3 game, Cutler still in there, and he is brought down by Howard Green for a loss of 9. Same drive, 3rd and 15. A lot of people would like to have seen Cutler in a snuggie by this point. He wasn't. Eric Walden drops him. 4th quarter, Rodgers comes out firing. Looking left up, and there goes right to Jennings in stride. Big gain, 46 yards. Did a nice job looking off the defender
But look at that. There's a different corner in there, Zach Bowman, because the series earlier, they pulled Tim Jennings off the field. Zach Bowman gets in there, immediately gets
and Manning is coming over late, too, because I think he started to drift, too, when he saw his eyes looking at the left side of the field. Very next play, Rodgers to a lonely Donald Lee. Much better inside the 5-yard line in Green Bay than the last time they were in that position against the Bears. 8 minutes, Cutler going back, and Charles Woodson got to do a better job of Woodson, defensive player of the year last year.
Without a doubt. All over the place. Mr. Versatility.
Per usual. Seems like the Packers blitzed all game long. Clay Matthews there, 6 sacks in all for Jay. 20 seconds to go, 2nd and 10. What happened here?
Just high on the throw. Aaron, like to see him better mechanics, too. Have his feet set, hit the ground, hitch, and throw. And just he lets that football sail. I don't think he had his feet set completely.
So the Packers punch their ticket to the postseason. They win it 10-3. I think, Jim, we would all say the defense is where you need to be. They are playing a playoff brand of defense. The special teams, it is there. It is ready to go. Where is the Bears offense?
Well, it's interesting because last week we saw a team in the Chicago Bears, they get in a track meet, and lo and behold, they pulled off where they put up some of their biggest point totals the past couple weeks. Now they're in a nail biter against the Green Bay Packers, and you somewhat lay an egg. So they have to do better in terms of pass protection, because ultimately, if Green Bay's down the pipeline again, you have to learn to block the 3-4 blitzes. If that was the goal today, the Bears failed. So
wasn't that ominous? If they're down the pipeline, they will be for the NFC Championship game. And our team has looked bad ever since.
Well, that was the most depressing half hour that I've ever spent in my life.
But the theme is, like, again, those weren't even the big losses, like the ones that we all remember, regardless of, how long you've been a fan or whatever, like the ones that stick out. Like, even if you're not a diehard fanatic like we are, the ones that everybody remembers as a Bears fan, but maybe some of those you have forgotten. So, but the thing is, regardless if you have, and we just relived them and rekindled those nightmares for you, it's always the same. The story is always the same for 30 fucking years now. It's like a play on Broadway. There's new actors, but they're doing the same shit.
New bad actors on Broadway. Well, thanks for putting that together. It was, as Bear Truth 1 said, that was sadistic, but it was entertaining. It really was.
And it's fun to always hear Berman and Jackson together.
Yeah, and and see so many old faces like Pat Boyle and Dave, the young Dave Wanstead. Dave Wanstead looked like a younger Mike Ditka. He looked like
the mustache, especially.
Yeah, I wonder if Michael McCaskey said, I'm going to bring in another Ditka, but he's going to be nicer to me than Mike, and that's why you hired Dave Wanstead.
He's aged really well, though.
He has. I didn't realize, or maybe I did, but I forgot that he also does a CBS network pregame show with Clarissa Thompson.
I think that's on Fox.
Is that on Fox?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Clarissa Thompson or whatever.
Yeah.
She actually started out on the
ESPN.
Fox Sports Ohio
Cincinnati
Reds stuff. Yeah, she was at the Reds network with Tom Brenneman before she got her break to go to the big Fox. She was on the Fox Sports Ohio affiliate.
Amy and Bethany McDonald, I know it can't be both of you writing that. It says Fields is so inaccurate, it's beyond alarming. Yet Aldo refuses to evaluate his poor play. I'm not saying that he's played well. He has been inaccurate, but I think these are all things that come with a rookie quarterback. You've got to go back in history. Peyton Manning threw more interceptions than touchdowns, just like Fields is going to do this season. Other great quarterbacks have had tough rookie seasons, and so I'm not going to condemn Fields. He has looked poor at times. He has looked unprepared. Keep in mind that he didn't have any practice at all with the starters in the preseason and OTAs or anything like that. He wasn't prepared properly for this season. What should have happened is as soon as they drafted Justin Fields, they should have said he's going to be the number one quarterback, or there's going to be a quarterback duel. They should have given him more more preparation for the season, and so they've put him behind the 8 ball. And even if he would have had all that preparation, you still should have expected there to be a rocky road, because again, that's what happens with our rookie quarterbacks. You can't say though that he isn't, like Boomer Esiason said, he isn't better than Trevor Lawrence, because he is better than Trevor Lawrence, and he's better than Zach Wilson, 2 other quarterbacks that were drafted before him. And Trey Lance, of course, we haven't seen him play to make that declaration, but he probably will be better than Trey Lance too. And the only reason that Mac Jones is playing better is because he is playing with a conservative system. I mean, how many passes did he throw in that last win on Monday night? 3 passes. And so they're not asking him to do a lot. It's like somebody said in the media reports, I think it was Parkins, they're asking him to do too much. They're asking Justin Fields to do too much, whereas with New England, they're keeping things simple for him, and he's going to play very well throughout his entire career. But the upside for Justin Fields is a lot higher than it is for Mac Jones, a lot higher. You agree with that? Any of that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But Belichick made Matt Castle look really good, if you remember.
Yes, that's right.
And he got him paid. So,
Right.
I mean, Matt Castle is going to live comfortably the rest of his life, unless he does something nefarious like Josh Bellamy and ends up in jail, for the most part. So, yeah, the system does lead to better quarterback play. He's coaching him up to the exacerbating or accentuating rather his talents, which is exactly what the Bears don't do. But on paper, Fields looks like the man. But like the other person said too, he's got to work on his accuracy. But like I said, I agree with what you said, though. The bottom line is he's with Matt Nagy, and he's not with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. So that's
unfortunately for him, he would probably be in the Rookie of the Year talk if he were drafted by the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. The thing, and Jamal says that this is why he wants McDaniels as our next head coach. But remember this, Jamal, that McDaniels goes to Denver and he brings Matt Castle with him. He got rid of Jay Cutler, brings in Matt.
And lied to Cutler's face, by the way, which is the reason Jay was upset.
Right. This guy, McDaniels, I think he's cut out of the same cloth as Bill Belichick. He's a cheater and dishonest.
Yeah, and he took the Colts job and then like 6 hours later did a Dave McGinnis.
That's right. That's right. And so I'm not a fan of McDaniels' character. So that worries me.
He's one of those guys. It's like Bill Belichick. He's just riding his fucking jock.
Right. And if you look at the New England Patriots coaching tree, it is fucking wilted. It looks like the Christmas tree in the Charlie Brown show. That thing has no life. And so I wouldn't, I don't have a lot of faith that Josh McDaniels is the guy. I know Mike North likes him, but Mike North likes Mitch Trubisky too. So
I knew that's where you were going.
All right. Guess what? Johnny Santucci is backstage. Johnny Santucci. I wish we had like a theme song for Tooch. Let's ask him if he could have like a theme music, what would it be?
The music that they used on Larry Sanders.
Oh,
when
yes.
Hank would like, hey now, would
I love that.
Would like in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the Larry Sanders thing would be good for 2.
I will play the original music of my theme music right now.
Times and maybe so.
That would be my theme music right there.
By
The
the way,
Bears State of Affairs.
I wanted to ask Dan this while we were going through his catalog of Packer Bears highlights. Do you have a porn collection, Dan, similar to your collection of Chicago Bears videos?
No.
Is it all money shots?
I used to, back in the day, would order like a block. They'd give you like all 6 channels for like 3 hours or whatever. So you could see what I was jacking off to at any given moment that night. because I would record like the 3-hour block, 1 hour, whatever I was watching. I'm sure I still have all of those, but no. I've got a huge collection, as you can tell, of sports, and like I have all those games in complete, the broadcast, like the way it aired live too, not just the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, the porn is nowhere near the sports for sure.
Well, still cut together some porn highlights for us to watch on the next show.
That'll cheer us up
for sure.
Somebody in the chat room, I wish I would have starred this. I learned today that you can star some of the comments in the chat room, and that way it makes it easier for you to find when you scroll up. But anyway, somebody in the chat room, I think it was Stephen Me, he said, I wonder if Dan is getting a hard on watching all these Jay Cutler clips.
Hey, that touchdown to Devin Hester, that could probably get me hard. That pass was sweet.
Yeah, there were some nice Bears plays there, but just like on Sunday night, they just didn't have enough of them, and the sad tale continues. Guys, I need to go to the washroom, so Tooch and Dan, we'll leave it to you.
Before you go, Aldo, I got to tell you one thing. I watched your after show, with John Buffone.
Bear football, right?
Watch halftime first so I could see the high and come back and see what you guys were talking about after the low.
That was the perfect tease.
What
that
a
was
change.
Yeah, wasn't it? And and John and I both expected that the Bears were going to lose, but we were having fun in that first half.
Yeah,
it was to borrow a phrase from Matt Nagy. It was fun watching us get out to a lead. But you can see the Packers starting to crawl back.
The Bears.
Exactly.
Who the hell is this team?
All right, just give me 5 minutes, guys, and I'll leave you two at it and talk about whatever you like.
All right. Danny,
did you get to watch those highlights or lowlights there?
Yes, I did. It was very painful.
What were any of your thoughts? You remember any of those games specifically?
I remember, and seeing them all brought every single game back to memory for sure. Especially that season with the Caleb Haney, where all we had to do was beat the Packers week 17. They weren't in. Because I knew that in the playoffs they were going to beat us. If we didn't beat them in the week 17, they'd come back and beat us. I think every Bears fan knew it. If they got into the playoffs, they were going to come and beat us, and that's what happened.
You just thought, man, hopefully, God, if when Jay got hurt, it's like maybe Todd Collins could come. He had played some good football over the years with Washington and Kansas City.
Yeah.
But he just was dreadful. So they had to turn to Caleb Haney in the fourth quarter. And you're just like, this dude, as you saw in 2011, was a complete and utter bum, but somehow got us on the board. But then threw that pick to the big, what was it? Something Jolly, the big 400-pounder that fucking scored when it was tied 14-all. It's shit, man. That's the one I didn't want to include in there. Cause I don't want to watch that ever again. It just still bothers me.
Eric Kramer not making. I thought he was in. I remember that play, and I remember thinking he was in. I was yelling at my TV, if he'd just extended the ball out, he was protecting the ball. But I remember that came back to me. I'm just like, God damn it, he was in. We should have won that one. But yeah,
the thing I loved about Kramer, and maybe hopefully Fields will have some of this in him too, is as you saw on Sunday, he throws the pick six, but he comes back and throws the touchdown to Bird. That's what I was going to say on those highlights. You have Kramer not getting in on fourth down and then throwing an interception, but yet still had the wherewithal to come back and throw the presuming game tying touchdown to Chris Penn, but ultimately they go for two and don't get it. But Kramer had the mental capacity and the wherewithal to overcome adversity like that and just keep going. Hopefully Fields will too.
Right. People forget that Fields is a rookie. I watched the game and I was like, man, I see flashes. If you give his kid some time, he's going to be, he really can be something special. You saw him make a lot of plays. He got to keep the play alive with his feet. He's got a good arm. People they just don't know football. Troy Aikman went 1-15 his rookie year. Peyton Manning wasn't much better. Are they going to call and say those guys are busts? Where's Amy and Bethany McDonald? It's probably some 15-year-old hiding behind his little sister's account, so he doesn't have to get called football.
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm glad they're listening if they're listening, but yeah, I get your points well taken. Aikman, they had to get rid of Steve Walsh because going into their second year, and this is adding to your point, people were saying, Aikman's a joke, and let's just play Steve Walsh.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Johnson was like, man, we can't have a controversy here. We're going to trade Walsh to New Orleans just because we want Aikman as the unquestioned starter. He's the guy. So obviously Jimmy Johnson knew that, and then they would win 3 Super Bowls. But yeah, early on, people, like you said, were saying Aikman's a bust.
Early on, they were saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. It's like, people have short memories. They're like, Justin Fields sucks. He put up 30 points. The Bears put up 30 points. I said last week that the Packers had put up 40-something points. I didn't know the Bears could get 40 points or 30 points up on the board. But I thought, to be honest, I had the Packers. I thought the Packers would cover the spread and win. I know the Bears. Matt Nagy can't coach the Bears to victories. He just can't.
Yeah, you're right. I hate to say it. And then, and it's just like, if that wasn't enough to get him fired, whole thesis of what we were doing with that countdown, first off, at the end of it, I was hoping to somehow be like, but we won on Sunday.
Yeah.
But in the flip side, since we lost, it just adds to it. It reiterates the point that it's the same old shit. But I'm hoping before I go that we can get to the Howard Stern clip that we have of Howard burying Aaron Rodgers.
I would like to hear that. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, as soon as Aldo comes back, then, because
very nice. You got to get to work. I know.
The game on Sunday, Chris Collinsworth. I'm not just saying this because the Bears lost. Chris Collinsworth, I think if he evaluated his broadcast and listened back to it, he would say, "Oh man, I had a shitty night," because he was on Rodgers' dick like they were related.
Man, it was gross. It was disgusting.
Yeah. And he was even saying "Oh, poor Aaron about this, the vaccine lie." And regardless of where you are on the vaccine, that's not my point. The point is he lied about it. He wanted people to believe he was vaccinated. And then it comes out that he lied, and still it's like, oh my God, why are you mad at me? Because you fucking lied. Because you're a piece of garbage, man, and you only care about yourself. That's why so many of your teammates don't like you. That's why your fucking own family doesn't like you. Where's Aldo? I need to play this clip.
He is still not back yet. As soon as he gets back, I will tell him you're looking for the Howard clip.
You're going to love it.
Oh, here he is. He's back now.
Aldo, can you play the Stern clip before I have to go?
Sure, I can.
That's what we've been talking about, that Rodgers at Collinsworth was basically deep-throating him all day.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I told him, I really think if Chris listened to his broadcast back, he would be like, oh, man, this was not my best night. It was like they were related, or he owed Aaron money or something.
Yeah, he at one point, did you hear him talking? It sounded like he was gargling with the semen of of the Packers quarterback. Yeah, let me cue this.
Tooch hasn't heard this.
Yeah, it is. How set this up for us, Mr.
This was from November, and I talked about it on air at the time, but I didn't have a subscription to Sirius at that time, but now I do. So I was like, I went back to get it because I just wanted to balance out all of the love Collinsworth gave him, because this was when Rodgers got caught lying about the vaccination.
All right.
And Stern just buries him, and it's so great.
Here it comes.
This fucking Aaron Rodgers of the NFL. I don't even know where to begin with that story. I mean, this fucking guy, I don't watch football. Sorry, I'm not a big fan. I know the guy's a real good football player. That's why they put up with his bullshit. If there was decency in this world, I would throw this guy out of the football league so fast. What he did to his fellow teammates. And, bravo, Terry Bradshaw, for what you said, and everyone else who's got half a brain in this country. But this fucking guy, they should throw him out of the league so fast. That whole bullshit game. Yeah, I have the antibodies. Now, first of all, I don't know where these guys get their information from. They refuse. He at the press conference, he said he got his information from Joe Rogan. With all due respect, Joe Rogan's
Why would you go to Joe Rogan with a medical problem?
Yeah, you got doctors who study in medical school. I don't know what has happened to this country.
But this is a guy who wanted to be the host of Jeopardy to prove that he's a football player and he's smart. And then you hear he went to Joe Rogan for medical advice.
But he didn't do a bad job as a host of Jeopardy, which actually surprised me because,
basically it's reading and maybe somebody's in his ear telling him what to say. I don't know.
Anyway, so until now, everybody assumed that this fucking asshole was vaccinated because he answered the question back in August like this.
Are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccinations?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
I'm immunized.
You know, there's a lot of conversation around it, around the league, and a lot of guys who have made statements and I've made statements, owners who made statements. There's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys.
I'm not going to judge them. You can judge them.
Because you're one of them.
Yeah. So he doesn't seem to understand why people are upset with him. They're upset. This guy was lying, and he's putting other people's health at risk. He's a fucking liar, and he could have destroyed a lot of people. And every anti-vaxxer has their own bullshit COVID cure. You know, the conservatives have their horse medication, hippies have their sage and garlic and ginger. Everyone, you know, everyone is got some cure, and they take this crazy shit, but they won't take the vaccine, which is medically approved, which has been checked out. It's effective.
Millions of people have done it now, and they can see them walking around.
Exactly. And then Aaron Rodgers came up with some cockamamie bullshit that he's allergic. Now all of a sudden he's allergic, which is fine. If you're
to something in the vaccine, he doesn't even know what's in the vaccine.
He's not allergic to anything in the vaccine.
Bullshit.
He's not allergic to anything in the fucking vaccine. Guarantee it. Here he is. Here he is yapping about this thing. And by the way, if you're allergic to the vaccine, so be upfront about it. Tell your teammates.
In actuality, it was pretty easy in the beginning to eliminate two of them. And it didn't involve going into the questionable history of some of their criminal activities and fraud cases or any of that stuff. It was simply the fact that I have an allergy to an ingredient that's in the mRNA vaccines. So those two were out already. So my only option was Johnson & Johnson. At this time, in the early spring, I had heard of multiple people who had adverse events around getting the J&J. Nothing that was no deaths or anything, but just some really difficult times and physical abnormalities around the J&J shot.
But he's not worried about horse vaccine. Horse dewormer.
Wait a minute, but COVID causes people terrible side effects, long-term COVID. It kills people.
So, please, the dude's a dumbass football player.
Like you're listening to, these vaccines may cause you some side effects, or COVID could kill you.
Yeah. Then he went into how the vaccine isn't all that effective. Anyway, doesn't work because people are still getting COVID. He's so fucking dumb. We know people
That's
are
why I
still
said
getting COVID.
everybody's jersey should say, "We're with stupid" on that team when he's on the field.
We know you can still get it because of idiots like fucking Aaron Rodgers.
And I go back to like these two questions for the, for this woke mob,
woke mob.
Number one,
woke mob.
if the
Because it's all
vaccine is so
political with him.
great, then how come people are still getting COVID and spreading COVID and unfortunately dying from COVID? Like, if the vaccine is so safe, then how come the manufacturers of the vaccine have full immunity?
Holy mackerel. Who the fuck knows what he's, he's reading shit on the internet.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, now he's a lawyer and a doctor giving you all these facts.
And
he's getting he's consulting with Dr. Joe Rogan too.
I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts. And
why wouldn't you do what a doctor recommends?
On the phone to me, and I'm going to have the best immunity possible now, based on the 2.5 million person study from Israel, that the people who get COVID and recover have the most robust immunity. And I'm thankful for people like Joe stepping up and using it.
Yeah, by the way, where he got that fact from, I don't know. It's the exact opposite.
Right,
The more
it was
you
from
get
Joe,
COVID,
probably.
Yeah.
Joe and his research.
I don't know why he's wasting his time on football. He's such a great researcher. He should go into the medical field. My research.
He's going to have the greatest immunity. He's like super immune now.
I say the next time this fuckhead gets injured on the field, they should bring in Joe Rogan to fix the bones. They should have him treat him. He's the only doctor they should have treat.
When he has to go through that concussion protocol, send him to Joe.
Now, if you're a Republican and you're against the vaccine, don't view it as me trying to throw liberal shit on. Just be a Bears fan for 5 minutes and say, fuck Aaron Rodgers, that dumbass. And just pile on. It's fun. It's a Bear fan. We got to get our solace somewhere. Fuck.
I like that.
Says the guy who just tortured us with 10 Packers whooping our ass videos.
Well, that's your orgasm right there at the end. You got your payoff.
There you go. A lot of foreplay for that.
To be fair, he didn't consult with Joe Rogan. I mean, he did the same treatment that Joe Rogan's doctor gave him. That's the misinformation that you're getting, because monoclonal antibodies are the emergency CDC treatment for COVID in hopeless cases. And that's a treatment that Joe Rogan had. So, I mean, let's just put things into perspective there. Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Vaccinated, and Chris Collinsworth for 3 hours sucked his dick like he was a victim.
It's not like Joe Rogan is giving him medical advice.
Get
That's the
suspended
misconception.
except him.
Joe Rogan's doctor prescribed him stuff. People, hey, what'd your doctor prescribe you? Can I talk to your doctor? Can I get the same treatment from my doctor that your doctor gave you? And it turns out that monoclonal antibodies, which is the Joe Rogan treatment as it's become known, is what the CDC fucking recommends. So people, come on. So either trust the CDC or your doctors. We're not trusting Joe Rogan. We're trusting medical professionals here. Let's just get the story.
Well, again,
right.
I didn't want to debate that. The point is that what I was trying to just point out was that he lied, and Collinsworth acted like he was a victim of the situation. And I just wanted someone to say, "Fuck you, Aaron Rodgers."
Tim Pool had the same treatment. He was dying and recovered. So I mean, there's something to it. The CDC wouldn't recommend monoclonal antibodies if it didn't work. That's what.
But again, that's separate from what I'm saying. Rodgers lied about it. Is the reason I brought that up. But again,
Rodgers lied about being immunized. He said, "I'm immunized." He used
Howard calling him
an
a
opposite
fucking
word. He never had the vaccine. That's the lie that Rodgers put out there.
Yeah, he's put out more lies than that. But yeah, it is what it is. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck Joe Rogan. Fuck everybody.
I love Joe Rogan. I'm a huge fan.
Really?
I love his show. It's great. I love the interviews.
I've listened to portions of a couple of interviews, and they're okay. I don't know. He doesn't. To me, it's not destination podcast because he's only on Spotify now, right?
Yeah, he's only on Spotify. Well, he's got a YouTube channel that plays reruns, but
okay.
I enjoy the interviews. I love the questions he asks. He asks questions that normal people would ask. You know, he asks questions that I want to know.
Yeah, there you go. Dan, before you cut out here, because I know you got about 5 minutes, anything that you want to touch on, whether it's something that you've seen on the tube or anything else?
Let me think. Curb Your Enthusiasm was really good this week.
Oh my gosh.
No Power of the Dog yet? Anybody?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
But I did see this last week's episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I was under the influence of marijuana, and I fucking laughed so much. I mean, I was shitting in myself. And I got to tell you, Dan, I'm not always the biggest fan of that show because it is the same shtick over and over again. But every once in a while, they come up with something so fucking funny. And I'm trying to remember now what the part of the show was that I was
where Leon kept like taking up for people, the house husband.
Yeah, they come up with this idea that Leon should be a house husband because so many times the women or people are get duped by salespeople,
mechanics always do that shit.
That's right.
They're hustlers, man, more than the whores on the street.
And by the way, that guy, Leon, he should have his own show. Because that guy is brilliant, man. He is so fucking funny. Why doesn't he have his own show? We need to petition that like right away.
Well, he's on every football game now as the new Caesar on that betting site.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's JB Smoove who plays Leon is the one that's the endorsement where he has Cleopatra and now he has the Mannings on there on the commercial because he said like the new one he's like I even like Cooper. Manning that didn't play,
Right. So anything else besides Curb?
Well, real quick before I go, did you see the episode from about a month ago with Larry and the Klan? Oh my God, the KKK.
Yes,
episode.
I did. That was pretty funny too.
That was one of my favorite episodes of all time. Yeah. It's right up there with the incest survivor group. If you remember that from season 1.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I caught up on Dexter. I watched Dexter last.
I started Dexter.
Yay!
My wife and I are enjoying it. Yeah, season 1.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's really good.
Yeah. Enjoying it. Really
and I've caught up on Yellow Jackets. So
Yellow Jackets to me is a little bit of a letdown. It seems like for those who haven't seen it, there's basically 2 storylines. It's a group of girls when they were teenagers and they crash landed somewhere and they are now being forced to fend for themselves. And it's been described as sort of a Lord of the Flies thing. And if you're familiar with the William Golding book, people start to eat each other. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But then the other storyline is them older, at least some of them. There's a couple of characters missing. So I'm presuming that they were eaten.
But somebody's murdering characters in the present day too.
Yes.
I suspect.
That is true. But it's that storyline with the present day women that I find weaker, even though it's a great cast. Juliette Lewis, all those people who are, what's her name? Christina Ricci, all great cast. But I like the storyline with the kids who have crash landed much, much more. That one keeps me going.
The one who plays Missy is Christina Ricci. I almost don't recognize her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. And when you told me just now, I was like, "That, God damn it, that's Christina Ricci." You don't even recognize her in the hair and the glasses.
Yeah, she's got quite the get up going on. Dan, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think it's coming together a lot now. And the one that I don't know what her name is, but she kind of looks like Molly Shannon. She's presumably the main character of the show. The younger version of her had sex before they went on the plane. And now, as we're finding out that she's pregnant while they're stuck there. So, I mean, you could have some weird shit with like someone eats the baby. Who knows where it's going to go? But I like it. I think it's just getting better and better. I think they're halfway through now, 5, maybe 6 episodes in. There's 10 total. I think it's getting better each week. I think it's good. I hope you don't give up on it. I think it's
not
really good.
I'm not. I'm definitely not going to give up on it. And then you're not a Succession watcher, neither one of you guys, right?
No, it reminds me of that show on Showtime called Billions too. They look the same to me, and I'm not interested in either one.
Yeah, I highly recommend Succession, although I am a little bit disappointed with season 3 that just finished. Although the conclusion of season 3 was a great cliffhanger, but the first 2 seasons are outstanding, and you almost have to watch it or at least give a couple of episodes the try because it's become a cultural phenomenon. I mean, a lot of people are saying that could end up if they continue the show, if the show continues to ascend as it's doing now in terms of popularity, that it could reach Game of Thrones popularity. And I know, Dan, you're not a fan of Game of Thrones, but that's because of the genre. I would give this a shot because it's a commentary on like the Murdoch family, the Rupert Murdoch family.
But I don't like Rupert Murdoch.
I know.
I don't want to watch anything about Fox News.
And you're not going to like any of the characters on here, but what's great about it is the way they cut each other up. It's like watching a roast. Some of the lines in this are so fucking funny. It's great. And there's a pretty good storyline and a great soundtrack. I say give it a shot.
Well, before I go, I need to tell you one more thing, and I do have to go, unfortunately. It's been a fun show, by the way. I feel like Matt Nagy in the first half. But I finally saw, again, it's not, I'm like my build-up is just like, why'd you build that up? But I finally saw the new Ghostbusters movie. I had a date on Saturday.
Oh, what'd you think?
They did as much as they could. It was almost like if Ghostbusters had come out in 21 instead of 84, but it focused, like, I thought Paul Rudd was going to carry the movie, and I like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, me too.
So he's kind of like, oh, by the way, Paul Rudd's in this. It focuses on the fucking children too much. Like one of those fucking kids from that show that everybody jacks off about, Stranger Things. Ooh, Stranger Things. You know, I don't have any desire to watch a bunch of 14-year-old kids in any scenario. So, the film focuses too much on the children, and it comes across a little too PG, even though I think it may be PG-13. But it's just like, am I watching Stranger Things? Like, I want this movie focused on adults. It doesn't have to be rated R.
Sure.
It could still be PG-13, but the adults are almost secondarily of importance to the film. And I don't want to spoil it. There's a lot of ties to the first one of people that are around. They even managed to, Harold Ramis isn't with us anymore. Let's just say his presence is felt. I don't want to spoil it. They dedicate the film to him, which is cool. And but I wasn't disappointed. It's just, it could have been better, in my opinion, if it just didn't force those fucking children down our throat. But beyond that, it's a good movie for your kids. Like Tooch has got, some younger kids. I bet they would love this movie. And it would be, if you had to watch a movie with your kids, this would be one of the best ones ever. Because kids like a lot of awful shit, So, but this would be fun. But as an adult, I wanted more. But there you go. That's my review.
By the way, before you go, John and I, if it's okay with Tooch, I'd like to stick around another 20, 30 minutes to answer some of the questions in chat and for John and I to chat. But before you go, Dan, do you have a Monday Night Football prediction?
Oh, the Minnesota game. I was thinking Monday Night Football. Who's on Monday night this week? I mean, next week. Yeah, because it's Tuesday. Duh, you can tell I've been working already.
Yes, you have.
I haven't had any sleep. Really. I mean, if I had to predict, if I had to put my money, if I was going to be Tooch here and make a bet, I would bet against the Bears, but my heart says, oh, we'll find a way to win this. It's at home. Why not? But, we haven't won a game at home since the Detroit game that you and I were at. So, yeah, I mean, if I would, Minnesota's got a lot to play for. If I'm betting, I'm going to say the Vikings, but I'm hoping that the Bears win.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I bet on the Packers to win Monday night or Sunday night, and I'll probably bet on the Vikings. But I'll be rooting for the Bears. But I want to make some money, so it's an easy bet that the Bears are going to lose. All right, Dan, get out of here. Tooch and I will close things up.
I hope it was as fun for you all as it was for me. I had a really good time tonight.
It really was, Dan. I appreciate all the hard work you put into those video clips, and looking forward to our next show.
All right. You all be well. Take care, Tooch.
Okay, brother.
Later, Danny.
All right, sir.
All right. You want to do your prediction now?
Well, you know what? 3.5 points, you're tempted to take the Bears, at home. But the second half collapses, and Vikings have been in some close games. And most of their losses this season have been, 3 points or less. They're able to, I'm loath to take the Bears even with getting points here. The only way I would take the Bears is possibly in a teaser with another team, or possibly the Bears, then you tease the Bears up to 9.5 and maybe take the over, lower the over line down to, what is it right now? It's Monday night. Lower it down to 38. I think the Vikings and Bears can get over 38 points, and the Bears just have to come within 9.5 points of the Vikings. I think that's doable. I don't know. I mean, I still I don't trust the Bears second half to, the collapse in the second half.
If Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson are playing for the Vikings, and they, I'm sure will be, they came out of that game without any injuries, they're going to kick the Bears' ass. I don't think that the Bears' defense can stop that dual weapon that they have on that team. The wide receiver, I mean, that guy is unbelievable. He's going to be a superstar if he isn't already considered. And Dalvin Cook is just an unbelievable runner. So I don't think that the Bears defense is currently equipped to stop that kind of dual attack. So I just see it's going to be very, very difficult. Plus, there's just a cloud of demoralization hanging over the Chicago Bears. I don't see how they can bounce back after that disappointing Packers loss, and the injuries are mounting up. It's going to be fucking ugly, man. I just don't see it. All right, I wanted to ask you, Senor Tooch, because a lot of
you remember you asked me to do something like, did I prepare anything for tonight? And I was like, I thought I would. We're in it's the same. It would be the same exact material because we're in the same. Nothing's changed.
I hear you.
Matt Nagy still has a job. The Bears. I don't know whether whatever got out and said that we're going to fire him after Thanksgiving. Whether that loose lips, got the story out there, and then they had to walk it back. Now they're like, I don't know if we can fire him after the season. But I'll tell you, Monday night, if the Bears get blown out by the Vikings Monday night at home, we're at home. If we get blown out at home by the Vikings, I think George McCaskey's, if it doesn't cross his mind, he's a fool of whether or not he should fire Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. And he's not getting rid of Ted Phillips because that relationship goes back years. And he got the stadium deal done. But like I said, I'm of the belief that the Bears ownership wants to and has to get this Arlington Park deal done and get a new stadium built there that they own, they control, they have profit all of the concessions, not the Chicago Park District. They can fit 20 to 30,000 more fans in the seats because that's more profit for them. They can build a better fan experience. They could have a retractable dome. They could host a Final Four. They could put casinos on the grounds and take in some of the profits. I mean, think of the value. Their franchise would go from whatever it's worth now to the billions of dollars. That's what's at stake. So Ted Phillips is not going anywhere. Would they be smart to move him to a position that's just like director of business development and stadium financing, something like that? Yes, they should do that because fans are clamoring for Teddy's head. They have been for years. I don't know. Are the Bears oblivious to the fact that fans want Ted Phillips' head on a pike?
No, they're not. But the thing is that they're looking at when they look at Ted Phillips, they don't see the president of the Chicago Bears. What they see is the goose that's laying golden eggs because they're making so much money. Everybody likes to point out the one-loss record for the Chicago Bears under Ted Phillips, but what they're overlooking is the over $1 billion in revenue that the Chicago Bears have generated while Ted Phillips has been president, and they don't want to fuck with that. Now, they tell Ted, you stay out of the football operations business, and now Hub Arkish has been kind of questioning whether he and or George McCaskey has been staying out of it. So there's that debate that's come up again. But for the most part, when I talk to Greg Gabriel, he assures me they have nothing to do with football operations. It starts with Ryan Pace and continues on to the coaching staff. It's just those two guys. The only thing that Phillips and McCaskey have to do is the hiring of the next GM. So we'll see. But I agree with you. Nothing's going to happen. They have to do something because of Arlington Park. They have to, because they want to get investors. They want to pass this thing through. They want to have a organization that people are buzzing about so that everybody will be, on board with the move to Arlington Heights. And there's still hurdles to overcome. So fielding a good team will be very, very important. What do you got up here, Stephen Me?
Yeah, this is one I just watched. Man, I tell you, the past 3 weeks, I gave you King Richard, which had a great movie if you love sports movies, and then you got Will Smith's. He's definitely nominated for this for Best Actor for this one. So you have a great performance. And then I gave you The Power of the Dog, which probably will have multiple nominations: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography. And The Power of the Dog. This is the Jane Campion film we talked about last week. And then I watched The Unforgiven, which has a great performance by Sandra Bullock. I'm not sure that she won't get nominated either, because she was really great in this.
Yeah, Hollywood loves her. So if she's good in it,
she is a Hollywood favorite. And she plays someone who gets out of prison, being in prison for 20 years for killing a police officer. And then slowly the story is revealed of what happened on that fateful day when she was a younger woman. Probably she was taking care of her younger sister, and the social service take the girl away, and she was some things happen, and then she comes out. She's trying to put her together. She can't get a job. People are cow killer, beating her up and stuff, and she's in a halfway house with drug users and stuff. And John Bernthal is in it. He's also in King Richard. He plays the kind of love interest in the show. And man, I don't want to give it away because it does have sort of a twist ending. You got to see it coming. There's the sons of the police officer who was killed. The sons are coming after her. That we got to get two brothers. Very bright brothers. Like one's like, no, we're not going to do anything. Other one's got a plan hatched. You'll see if you watch the movie. It's Unforgivable. It's on Netflix.
I will definitely check that out. I've got it on my list. I want to go back and address what Matthew Fucci said. Dan is not a fan of Game of Thrones. He just doesn't like the gladiator sword and
fantasy.
He doesn't get it. Which I don't understand why that would deter somebody from watching a great story. I mean, there are some genres that I wouldn't, that are not favorites of mine, but if you tell me this is an outstanding story, and I'll definitely check it out. And particularly if it's become a cultural phenomenon around the world, you just want to know, okay, what's everybody talking about here? And so that's the reason to watch Game of Thrones. You're a big fan of it, right?
Yeah, I love fantasy, but I'll tell you, I would prescribe fantasy to Dan Aguirre just to get away from Bears-Packers games.
There you go.
Right? Just turn off the misery faucet for a little bit.
It's funny because he was on with Mike North, and that's basically the advice North had for him. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah. There was a football question here that I wanted to address. Here it is. It's from The Factor. I have a question for you guys. What do Jefferson and Chase, DeMar Chase, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase have that Mooney does not? Chase and Jefferson are considered wide receiver one. And I do believe that Darnell Mooney could become a wide receiver one if he improves his hand. So, I'll tell you this. I saw Justin Jefferson up close because I went to the Senior Bowl the year that he was there. And the guy is phenomenal. Size-wise, speed-wise, hand-wise. Right now, he's a better player than Darnell Mooney. Jamar Chase, frankly, he had that one season at LSU. Took the year off, and I haven't watched him other than the highlight films. I haven't studied him too much, but he's a great player. But so I can't. But I won't spend time comparing them.
Those guys are a little bit bigger than Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's not a big guy. He's a tough kid, though, man. He's like 5'11", 185, something like that. But if you watch, he's tough to bring down. He breaks some tackles for a little guy. I mean, Chase and Jefferson are 6'2". And one thing that Darnell Mooney doesn't have is Jamar Chase's speed. Jefferson doesn't even have Jamar Chase's speed. Jamar Chase gets behind anybody, he's gone.
Yeah,
he's that fast. Not only that, but he's like, for a 6'2" guy, he is agile as hell. Jefferson is a smooth route runner. He's always where he's supposed to be. His cuts, his moves, his sets up the defensive backs great, and he gets positioned with his body. And he has great hands. That's what's his name? Justin Jefferson, right? That's his name.
Yes,
on the Vikings. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, this is his first year. He's exploded. He also has Joe Burrow throwing him the ball, which is kind of unfortunate because Burrow's, I mean, Burrow's having a sophomore slump.
Yeah,
you know? He's not. He was decent as an initial year. It looks like Justin Herbert is the best quarterback to come out of that draft. But I mean, like Tua and Burrow, they got some growing to do. But everyone here that's saying that like Justin Fields is a bust, man, I was like, you just don't know football. I mean, some of the stuff that the escapability, the throw, when he rolls out, he's got a strong arm. He's a rookie. Wait till he figures out NFL defenses. But did y'all not watch Ohio State football? Shit.
Right. It's totally unfair to judge him and call him a bust at this point. There's no way you should do that.
Right.
Got to give the guy some time to develop.
He wasn't with the ones in training camp.
Right. I mean,
would they rather have Andy Dalton? For Christ's sakes.
No. From day one, it should have been Justin Fields and developing him to start right away.
He's the future of the franchise.
He really is.
You better get behind him.
Are we fans of the show Blacklist? I am not. Tooch, are you?
I don't know it. I don't know the show, no. But
I think this is the NBC show with James Spader.
I love James Spader too.
Yeah, it's got a great cast, and it's got quite the following for a broadcast TV show. But
I don't watch broadcast TV that much. I'm more streaming TV. Right?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I can't think of a show that I'm watching on broadcast TV unless there's a lot of really hot chicks in it, like The Bachelor or something like that.
Steve and me as a Burrow fan. I mean, Burrow's okay. I mean, he's had some ups and downs. Man, look what he did against the Bears first half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. He has days where he makes some dumb throws too. Maybe till his third year. We'll see. I think the jury's still out on Burrow. I'm not saying he's a bust.
I lean more with Steven. I think that Burrow's got a great future. He's had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but but considering he's coming off that MCI and tough division, Burrow is somebody I would put my chips in if I'm asked to bet on the guy's future. I think he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, the Bengals defense has played over their heads this season. That's the reason why they're challenging for the division. And then you've got Pittsburgh in a down year, and the Baltimore definitely in a down year. When have you seen Baltimore's defense this bad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Yeah. PJ is really making us think twice about watching the Blacklist show, NBC. It might be a good show for to do a binge on. PJ, maybe we'll put that on the list. Sometimes my wife and I say, hey, this weekend want to binge something. Now they've been on for like 5 seasons, so that would be like a whole month binge, I think. But maybe we'll get into that. It's got another endorser here in GCA. James Spader kills it as Raymond Reddington. What a great name. By the way, I remember the first time I saw James Spader, I think it was in the movie Sex Lies
and Videotape.
Videotape.
That was great.
And
Steven Soderbergh film.
Exactly. And then he was
one of his first.
I think it was his. His first. And then he was in Less Than Zero with Robert Downey Jr., Andrew McCarthy, and the lovely Jamie Gertz.
Yeah.
And I knew then this guy is going to be a star. Spader is. He's got that. He could play the villain. He could also play the love interest and stuff.
Yeah.
His career's done good.
He was like a California cool. I always thought he had that kind of, rich kid, California cool look about him when he was younger.
Yeah. Could play the creepy roles. Yeah. Another movie that he's in that I highly recommend is Secretary. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yes. He plays I think he's a lawyer in the movie, and he hires Maggie Gyllenhaal to be his secretary. And she has had issues cutting herself, self-esteem issues and stuff. And he's got a fetish for this, what's it called when you like spanking women? There's a name.
Bondage?
I guess there is some
bondage and discipline, B&D.
Yeah, B and D. And so it's a sexy.
Don't ask me why I know that.
I know.
Your damn business.
But I gotta tell you, my wife and I watched it. This was years ago, and boy, we got so effing horny while we were watching that movie. About 5 minutes after the movie was on, I was spanking my wife's ass. Yeah, baby, let's get it going. She's gonna kill me if she hears this. But that's definitely a movie I recommend.
Now, right? We need an Aldo light bulb.
That's right. No, we're not going to go there. But I definitely recommend Secretary. It's good. Blacklist is in its 9th season, so that's going to be a 2-month binge on that one. But I definitely want to see it. There are some quality broadcast TV shows, but when you watch shows on HBO and Showtime, and they're uncensored, you sometimes look at the broadcast TV and say, why the hell? Here's the only thing I watch drama wise that's on broadcast TV is Law and Order, SVU, and the organized crime one. I still, that format of the Law and Order shows is just like so brainless. You could pick it up in the middle, follow the storyline like that. Yeah. And I've been following that show for almost 2 decades, and so the characters like the back of your hand. So that show I have stuck with over the years.
Yeah, my wife and I are enjoying Dexter because she loves that. One of her favorite shows is Forensic Files.
Yeah, my wife is the same way.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you should like Dexter then. It's like he's basically a crime scene investigator, the blood spatter guy. Mm-hmm. And she's really enjoying it, too. We find it kind of funny that, like, Dexter is, like, avoiding – he's happy when he doesn't have to have sex with Rita, right? It's like he's asexual,
That's right. The PJ's asked if we watched Oh Henry, a show that Stephen Me recommended.
I haven't. Do I have to go? I thought Stephen said I had to go to Walmart and buy the DVD. I was like, that's probably not happening.
Yeah, I think it's out on some of the streaming services. I'll double check.
Which channel is it on for Old Henry? Because I love westerns, man. I love westerns. One of my favorite movies of all time is Once Upon a Time in the West. I think that's one of the few perfect movies ever made. That Old Good, Henry, the Bad, and the Ugly.
2021 Western with Tim Blake Nelson as Henry. Action Western movie. It doesn't say, it says you can watch it on YouTube for $4. So there's that.
YouTube TV.
Yeah. But other than that, it might be tricky to find.
Yeah.
What else is up here that I wanted to talk about? PJ, again, really selling Blacklist. I bought it on Vudu, so I can watch it uninterrupted. That's the way to do it, brother. We don't need commercials. We don't have commercials on this show. Last episode of Dexter was great. I can't wait for the next one. Shit's about to go down.
And that's in the new season he's talking about.
Correct. Right? Okay. Correct. It is, and I'm not going to give anything away here.
I've got a ways to go. Yeah, I'm only in season 1. So
do.
How many? Was there 8 seasons?
I think there were 8 seasons, and so this reboot is the 9th season. I'm pretty sure.
I'm enjoying. I love Michael C. Hall because I like.
He's excellent.
He's so good.
Effing excellent. And the cast this year for this reboot is really good as well. Last says Christopher Maloney is great. Yeah. Did you ever watch the series Oz on HBO?
Yeah, he was good in Oz.
Yeah. My goodness. This guy, everybody that was in that show was scary as all hell.
Yeah.
I mean, being on that set must have been really something. All that testosterone that was going on there, and scenes of guys fucking each other and walking around with their genitalia hanging out and stuff.
Yeah.
That had to be a wild show.
I used to have a lot of gay coworkers at the ad agency. They're like, "You got Oz is the best show. All the dicks."
That's right. There was a lot of dicks on Oz. That's for sure. But that's a HBO early classic of their produced, their own produced shows. That's a show to do a good binge on, as well as the David Simon Show. Why am I drawing a blank on it?
The early shows of HBO, Sopranos, Oz.
Yeah. What about the one that's done in Baltimore?
The Wire.
The Wire. One of the best series of all time. Yep. Definitely worth watching. Tooch, so what do you got? A winner for us? A betting winner for us?
I'm ice cold right now, man. I can't buy one. I had a good play this weekend. I teased the Titans and the Packers. And
Okay.
just bombed it, 10 units, boom. And then I was like, the Bears are up 10, or up 10 to start. Then they're up 7 at half. I'm like, oh, they're gonna ruin my teaser. But it was no sweat after that. I mean, the second half. That's the thing. It's like the Bears just can't. The Packers perfectly adjusted, to the first half of the Bears. They weathered the storm. They came back. They didn't lose their cool, and they freaking outscored us. What was it?
Yes. I made a comment. I made a comment on Twitter saying, Bears fans are complaining, that the Bears didn't do any halftime adjustments. And then I put the GIF up of, the face palm. And what I meant by that, I'm not saying that Matt Nagy made good adjustments. I'm saying to think that they're going to go into the half and they're not going to make any adjustments, I think that's ridiculous. Of course they made adjustments. They just didn't make good ones. They didn't anticipate.
They adjusted wrong.
Yeah. They didn't anticipate, that Devontae Adams was going to play more out of slot, that they were going to come out running the ball. They didn't anticipate a lot of things. They made adjustments. They just weren't good adjustments, which is really what Matt Nagy does every freaking game. They don't make the right adjustments. I find it totally implausible to think that they're just going to go in to the half and Matt Nagy is going to jump up and down and say, wow, this is fun. This is fun. We scored. No, I don't think that's going to happen. It is.
Looking at the games, I think Tennessee is going to go on a little run here. I like Tennessee at Pittsburgh. I would take that bet.
Do you do English soccer?
I saw. I did. I had Manchester City today over Leeds. So like Stevens, that was no sweat. Like you said, it was 7-0. Mm-hmm. And then I also had Aston Villa to win. That also won. So I mean, I at soccer I'm red hot. I had Bayern Munich too to win. I had three soccer games today. I won 3-0. But my college basketball and last night I had the Cardinals. I figured Jalen Ramsey's out, Deontay Dion's out. Darrell Henderson's out for the Rams. It didn't matter, because Arizona just stunk. Mm-hmm. So, Jalen Ramsey's the Rams' best defensive player. If there was just no stopping Aaron Donald, Aldo's guy.
Yep.
Aaron Donald, the guy that Bears, we were hoping he'd drop to us, right?
Yeah, you know what? I hate to brag, but I'm going to take a moment to brag.
Yep.
I had on my wish list Aaron Donald and Patrick Mahomes. Yep, imagine if the Bears had those two guys. Jeez.
Yep.
But I should also say that I endorsed the pick of Kevin White. I learned my lesson, but and Kevin White I think would have been a really good receiver just if he didn't have all that hard luck.
So many injuries.
Yeah, but he definitely wasn't worth I think he was drafted 7th
overall.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't worth going that high. But if you look back on that draft, there weren't the guys that were drafted in that area, all of them were like either mediocre or bust like Kevin White. So it was one of those years where you almost couldn't get it right, no matter who you chose. There was one guy, was it Dante Fowler, I believe, who went on to have went on to have a few good seasons. So that
I think he's on the Titans.
Right. The other thing that bugs me is Leonard Floyd. The guy is. This is another one of Ryan Pace's mistakes. How do you let that guy get away? I was against it. I was saying this guy is ascending. This guy, he's not going to, give you the 15 sacks that you thought you were going to get when you drafted him, but he can guard receivers. He can do all. Yeah, we missed Donald by 1 pick, PJ. Yes, exactly. But Leonard Floyd was that versatile linebacker that every defensive coordinator covets, except the Bears apparently. Because he can do so many different things, but that is what it is.
I'll tell you, passing on Patrick Mahomes, who I love too. That was my pick in the draft. I loved Mahomes. I liked Deshaun Watson too, but the knee injury, would put him down. Mitch Trubisky, I was like, he's all right. I don't think he's a first-round pick. He only played 13 games in college. I wanted Mahomes. Seen him throw the ball 90 yards. The arm was, you can't coach arm talent like that.
Exactly. To me, he was a Brett Favre, a wild gunslinging guy that with good coaching. Oh, well, that's the problem.
They were like Texas Tech. It's not an NFL offense, but come on,
it is now.
Yeah, right. What do you think Arizona's running? That's the coach Mahomes, Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, so many NFL coaches are just so stubborn. It's like these guys are doing so well running college offenses. Start adapting some of that stuff into pros and make it easier for guys to convert to the NFL game. Give them a playbook that they're already familiar with, and just make it a little quirkier to full NFL defenses. But what the fuck I know. I'm just here.
Getting some chat room folks defending Trubisky. They want to have Trubisky back over Justin Fields. I'm like, if you think Trubisky's ever going to be better than Justin Fields, you just don't know football.
Well, we might have an opportunity to see Mitchell Trubisky quarterback the Bills because Josh Allen was hurt and his status for Sunday's game is iffy. I would love to see Trubisky in there.
He'll do good.
You think so?
I think so, because he's got a better offensive line. He's got better receivers. They don't have a running game. That's the thing that's going to hurt him. He's going to have to throw. So, but Buffalo's a better. Yeah, that's a problem. But he's got better coaches.
Yeah,
Sean McDermott and Brian Daboll, better coaches than Matt Nagy and Matt Nagy's folks that he has there.
I'm a little bit starting to grow a little bit hesitant about Brian Daboll, and everybody's loved Brian Daboll.
I don't want him. He's all right though. I mean, he's better than Matt Nagy. But that's not saying much.
Yeah, the last pass I think that Mitch Trubisky threw in a regular season game was an interception. He was wearing the Bills uniform. He came in. This was 2 weeks ago. He threw an interception. So. I didn't mention it to Mike North on the show that we did because I didn't want to break his heart, but I think a lot of people put too much weight on him coming to Soldier Field and throwing those 4 touchdown passes. That was an exhibition game. He's playing against a lot of second and third stringers and stuff. The test is playing in an NFL game, and I would love to see him play Sunday and see what he can get. The fact is, the bowl looks like Matt Nagy 2.0 versus the Patriots.
Yeah. Here's another one.
Mitch is a pro and Fields is an amateur.
Every quarterback has to throw a perfect spiral every time. Right? So, come on.
No.
Come on.
Who is it that we're talking to? Amy or Bethany?
It's someone hiding behind their kids or sisters.
Give us your real name. I think it's a guy. It has to be a guy, right?
Of course.
Give us your real name so that way we're not referring to you as Amy.
Plenty of quarterbacks make beautiful passes that aren't perfect spirals that are just placed perfectly. Nobody throws a perfect spiral every time.
Yep. That is for sure. I'm trying to look for that.
Unrealistic.
Trying to look for that Mitchell Trubisky Bills touchdown, but I can't find it. So anyway, here are.
I liked Mitch. I mean, he was a Bear. I rooted for my guy, but
absolutely,
he's not a Bear anymore.
No,
let it go.
He's not a Bear.
He had Matt Nagy as his coach. Let him go because he got away from Nagy. He's better off.
Right, indeed.
Hey, I had to think about. I was thinking about all of the range of emotions Matt Nagy must have gone through this week.
Oh my goodness, that's good. Yeah.
So you've got preparing for the Packers for Sunday night, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You've got the media constantly, asking him about, what the stories about him too, about whether or not he's going to be here next year, or all the innuendo about him not being here. Then you get here, he's got to go with Justin Fields. I got to prepare this kid for the Packers, and I don't even know if I'm going to be here next year.
Exactly.
And then the first half comes out. They're up, man. They're playing like they never played this whole season before. He's riding the high. And the second half was a disaster. And And he goes to the press conference after the game, and he looks like someone beat him with an ugly stick. It was just... And then here we go to this week, and he's preparing for a Monday night game on national TV again, where he's probably got in the back of his head. We're going to get embarrassed on national TV second week in a row. You know?
That's hilarious. And by the way, for those listening on the audio version of the podcast, I have been running Mitchell Trubisky's interceptions from the 2018 season, interception after interception after. Look at that. He overthrew that guy by 10 fucking yards. He was wide open, the receiver, and he overthrew him by 10 yards right into the hands of the deep safety. Look at this interception. He throws it
into triple coverage. Yeah.
Look at this. Three
that
Vikings.
Was a bad decision. Somebody had to be open with three guys on that guy.
You would think, right? There's got to be somebody open in the field. Look at him step up in the pocket, and he overthrows again. I was at this game, by the way. This is when he came back from injury, so I gave him some slack. But
I mean, you have to start Justin Fields. The only question that you have to ask yourself is it worth risking an injury to this kid, because he is the future? I mean, you may not like it. You know, you may not be a fan of Justin Fields. You watched Ohio State last year. You were a fan. He made some plays, though. He just has to get better coaching. He's not getting good coaching.
Nope.
He's coming out. He came off an injury, and still they almost, they had a shot at winning the game right after the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And he escaped from pressure and made some plays with his legs that not a lot of quarterbacks can do. You know, he may not throw a perfect spiral every time, Dan, but the kid is going to make some plays, man. If you don't think he's going to be good, man. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. This is basically what people were saying about Aaron Rodgers. You know, when he was a rookie. Yeah, he wasn't really a rookie. It was his first season starting. He sat behind Brett Favre for 2 or 3 seasons, and then came out there and he was running around, and they were like, that's a stupid throw, but he had the arm, he had the escapability, he had the arm, It's just you just have to give him time. He doesn't know NFL defenses. When he went from high school into college, he made mistakes.
Yes.
He went from college into the pros. He's going to make mistakes.
Yes.
You have a rookie quarterback. This is what rookie quarterbacks do. They don't come in, light it up. And Troy Aikman, the Hall of Famer, he didn't light it up. He's 1-15.
Right.
Justin Herbert, pretty good, came in as a rookie, but he had Keenan Allen. That dude's open all the time.
Yep.
He's always open.
Mm-hmm.
100 catches a season. So
Amy and Bethany McDonald say, well, why don't you show some of Justin Fields' fumbles and there's plenty of highlights or lowlights to show of that. But I just showed you interceptions from Mitchell Trubisky's, what was it?
He just whipped that up, folks. He whipped that Mitch.
Third season as a Chicago Bear, and he's overthrowing, and you saw it multiple times, overthrowing receivers. If Justin Fields is still doing that in his third season, then I would say, it looks like this guy's a bust.
Yeah, then you can say he's a bust. Then it's like people are talking about he's got a wind up, wherever. I think Greg Gabriel said he's got a long wind up, right? Justin Fields.
Yes.
So I mean, this stuff is all correctable. I mean, look at Tom Brady's mechanics now are 100 times better than when he came into the league. Look at it. Tom Brady has got perfect mechanics now, age 44.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the league 20 years.
So,
so what matters the most is studying the film, studying the defenses, the brain, and having athleticism to escape. You can work on your mechanics. It's just look at Brady's hip torque. His shoulder and hip. The hips torque first, the leg drive, the hips, and then the shoulder, and then the arm follows through like a slingshot. And that's how at 44 he's still getting some mustard on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all the experience and the brain, and knows the playbook like the back of his hand. You contrast 20 years with 1 year, not even 1 year of play. You can't do it.
Very true. Very true. All right. I think it is time to pull the plug. It is 11:11. Are you in Central Time there in Iowa?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So it's 11:11. What time you got to wake up and go to work? Or you're working from home, right?
I'm working from home still. They wanted me to go into the office, but I had some symptoms. you know, so they won't let me in the building. You know, I had this weekend to today. Today's like the first day I felt okay. You know, I'm supposed to go in there and work on some stuff in the office, but I have no desire to go back to an office environment, Aldo.
I don't blame you, man.
You know?
I don't blame you.
I don't want to get anybody sick accidentally. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to, you know, there's no need for me to be in an office. I could do my job fully remotely.
Yeah.
So, but
well, tell people what you're working on. For those listening on the audio, share with them your Twitter account and the video programming you're working on.
Yeah, every day I give away a free play, which I had like 15 in a row winners, but now I'm ice cold. I think I've lost 3 in a row in my free play. My free play is like my top play. I have some subscribers who I give picks to, give out free picks now and then on my thing, on my Twitter. And then we have the Maximum Edge Sports Wagering Show. We just interviewed Sean Higgs and Matt Peralt, two of the big names in gambling. Matt Peralt does the Daily Juice on Betting Pros, if you know that show. Matt Peralt was on Monday night. He was on last Thursday for the Patriots game. He's a big Patriots fan. And then Sean Higgs, longtime like Vegas guy. He was awesome, man. He gave out the Rams and the over last night on the show. You know, I was like, really? I'm not on the Rams, bro. But he was right, man. I was like, Higgs, come on, man. But you know, I was like, I thought the Arizona was going to win.
Steven says, by the way, that you like working from home because you can watch porn during work hours and not feel.
I wish. I got toddlers running around. Like one little toddlers in school, and then Entertainment Weekly. Man, the client is all over me all the time. You know, just hey, what, you know, they don't know how to do anything. I have to like hold their hand through the entire process that they've been doing for years. But you know, the issue I'm working on now is February Entertainment Weekly, which is all, you know, Oscar gossip. So it has all the features. Benedict Cumberbatch,
I love
Will
Entertainment
Smith.
Weekly, but when they get those Oscar issues, I don't even think I pick it up. It's just
I forget though. Last month was The Matrix on the cover. Did that one reach the house yet?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to it.
That's coming out. That's a beautiful, beautiful photo shoot
man.
of Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss. And then this month, I haven't seen the cover yet, so I don't know what it's going to be. And I don't know the cover story either. I've just been looking at, you know, like Oscar and streaming TV stuff. There's a Peter Dinklage who played Tyrion in Game of Thrones, either movie or show. I don't know, because some of the copy was Greek. You know, at this stage, so it doesn't tell the whole story. But it looks like some kind of like Cyrano de Bergerac type. You know, movie where he's, you know, during that time, the Renaissance piece with Dinklage, the Dink.
It's a great actor.
Great actor.
And quite the ladies' man, I've heard. You know, he's a good-looking little man, and from what I've heard, the women swarm towards him. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. You ever watch a porno movie with a little man and a regular-sized woman, for lack of a better way of putting it?
No, but I wouldn't close my eyes.
Let me tell you, I have seen. I think I've seen 2 of them, and it just by pure accident. You know, I was looking around and stuff, and there's a little guy having sex with one woman almost twice his size, and I said, "Hey, this is pretty cool." I got a question for people in the chat, because they're saying, man, but now that we're all active,
we got to give our prediction too, I think.
We got to give our prediction. But what would be, I've always wanted to do like a late night show, you know, here at the Borum Network, like start at 11 p.m. and go to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or something like that. So you people in the chat, tell me what hours
you think
say
porn.
That's right. What hours would you like to be porn here at the Borum Network?
Dan's porn review show.
So let me know if we were to develop this late night show. Help me get a good handle as to what the hours would be. So, and keep in mind Central Time, because it might be centered out of Chicago. So write those thoughts down before we get out of here. And Tooch, your pick for Monday night's game.
man, it's the Bears are terrible in prime time. I'm going to say Vikings. I would buy it down to 3. If it's 3, it's 3.5 right now. I think. Let me see. Hold on. I got the lines up here, and it is Vikings minus 3.5 still. Over under a 44. I would probably take Vikings minus 3, and if the Vikings lost, I wouldn't feel too bad about losing the bet, because the Bears would win. But
I agree.
I find myself rooting against Matt Nagy though. I just want him gone so bad.
I know it's weird. I would love for the game to be where Justin Fields delivers a sensational performance, but the Vikings still cover, and so that way I can win my $50 and plus. So
the Vikings defense isn't that good. I mean, it's the offense they got to watch out for. The Vikings, the Vikings defense is you could put up points on the Vikings defense. They're probably bottom half of the league. But, so I mean, it's not impossible that they could win. I would take the over. I think the over is the safest bet in this game, though. It's only 44 points.
There you go.
I think 24-20 is very doable. I think I see more like 30-27.
It would be great if the Bears offense could really I'm not sure what the status of the Vikings defense is. I know that they haven't been playing super well, but in terms of injuries, I know Anthony Barr is out to the season. Everson Griffin had another mental illness issue, so I don't think he's back. Guys like Harrison Smith, he's past his prime, but still making plays out there.
Still making plays. Adam Thielen is one of their wide receivers, the guy that plays opposite Jefferson. He's a pretty good player, but
he missed last week's game. So it'll be interesting. All right, let's see what some of the people are suggesting here in terms of a late night show. And people are like, GCA are saying, do it. The Factor says, sounds like a Friday or Saturday show. That would be good. That's a good idea for Factor to do like a Friday night or Saturday night show. It would be cool, like if I were to do a Saturday night show.
PJ is too young to be retired. He said he's retired. PJ.
Oh yeah, he's a former Chicago police officer.
So he looks so young in his picture.
He's a young man.
Yeah,
he retired when he was 50.
Yeah.
He's also retired. How many criminals, PJ?
PJ and I are probably about the same age, though. I think he's like a couple years older than me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So let's see.
Although I tried to go to the movie theater this weekend.
Why would you do
that? They wanted to see Encanto, the Disney.
Yeah, how was that?
We couldn't get in. It was sold out.
Oh, really?
And I was like, wow, movie theater's selling out. That's a good sign. Then Sarah Mars told me the industry's really hurting. She thinks cinema is going to only be like concerts, more like where tickets are going to, it's going to be like a $30 ticket. It's only going to be blockbusters like Marvel and Star Wars.
Steven Spielberg said that years ago.
Yep.
And I hate that idea, but I agree. That's why I am investing in a 72-inch screen 8K that will be our movie TV channel, because going to the movie theaters is going to be for the Marvel movies, and it's going to be $50 a ticket. You got it.
Yep.
PJ is 57 years old.
I'll be 54.
Look at you guys.
Yeah.
You ever wear
PJ and I make 50 look good, huh?
Yeah, that's right. You ever wear a super sharp suit like PJ's got on in that photograph?
I do. Yeah, I have one. I bought the suit. And I told my wife, bury me in this fucking suit. That's the only good suit I got.
And she might bury you tonight if you ever get the best. All right, I'm pulling the plug. I got to get some rest. Tatucha's got to work tomorrow from home watching porn. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks very much for watching. We're going to be back here tomorrow. We've got Hockey Talk at 2 p.m. The Bar Down guys, Vinny and Joey and Eddie Frankie are going to do their hockey show at 2 p.m.
Is that the Parisi brothers?
Yeah, they're fantastic. And by the way, if you like,
that they were in the Little League when I coached Little League there. Did you ever
talk
to
them?
Right?
Yeah. I think you mentioned that before.
They were a couple years older than my son. So if I was a coach, they were like the year ahead, and my son was, a year 1 or 2 years ahead of my son. But I used to watch him play, Joey and Vinny.
Yeah,
one of them could really hit the ball a long way. I don't know which one, but
I gotta bring this up. Let me see.
Yep.
At the 3:22 mark, I'm gonna play that tomorrow and fight over it.
Yeah. I used to get my team into the Hanover Park baseball, man. I used to, you were expected to get your team into the playoffs there. So I think I got my team in the playoffs every year there.
Look at you.
But yeah.
You should be managing the White Sox instead of that old guy.
Right.
And so, and then football talk at 7 p.m. We've got an outstanding guest, a guy who used to work for ESPN and now works for Deep Purple, the website. He does reporting on the Minnesota Vikings, so he's got a lot of inside information. He's going to be John Buffone's guest along with Alyssa Barbieri. And, of course, Buffone will do his rants, and then I'll join them for the last third of the show to talk football. That's at 7 p.m. Central tomorrow. Do not miss Buffone 55. And
love John Buffone.
He's the best. He's the best. And the best way to stay on top of everything that we're doing here at the Bar Room is to subscribe to our YouTube channel or subscribe.
I worry about John Buffone, though. He's such a big Bears fan. I think that maybe being a Bears fan is affecting his chances of finding a mate. It's like women don't like Bears fans.
Well, that may be true, but I don't think John has any problem.
I know. I'm messing with it.
Let me see if I can share this real quickly. I think I got it pretty quick access to it. This is John posted this today. He works with kids, teaching them boxing. Look at that.
Oh yeah, look at this guy.
That's not bad, huh?
Yeah, it's good.
When I was a kid that age, I wanted to be a boxer. And then somebody kicked my ass at school, and I said, "Fuck this."
Johnny Buffone is a big man for boxing.
Yeah, PJ, what tape review show are you talking about? You talking about science fiction, or are you talking about something else? Because we're developing some movie review shows, because I know that's a huge area of interest for everyone, and I'm a big movie guy myself, so I'm working on a couple of ideas. But send me your thoughts, PJ, and we'll talk about that. Send them to me on Twitter DM or hit me up on my
Is that
email.
the Danny Shimon show? I think he's talking about, right? With you,
Danny? That's what he's talking about. Bare Truth.
Bare Truth.
Yes. Yeah. That is something I definitely want to do, is more review of clips. The problem is that it takes a little time to collect all that stuff, and Danny doesn't do it. Danny screens it, and then I got to do the technical stuff, and I'm just slammed. Yeah, it is. But you're absolutely right. We really need to add more clips to the Bare Truth. And we've got some shows planned during the off season where we'll be looking at tape as well, particularly of players that the Bears have either acquired or are thinking about acquiring before free agency and the draft commence. So we've got some stuff coming at you, PJ. Thanks for that comment. I'm totally with you.
I do want to agree with the chat said Larry Borum should be left tackle and Tevin Jenkins right. Totally on board with that. Larry Borum is a good player. He can easily handle the left side.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit leery when a guy has not played a lot of left tackle in college and then moving him over. That's kind of a big thing to do. Yeah. And I just wish my biggest hope is that Peters comes back and plays the rest of the season at left tackle, because as long as Fields is the quarterback, if Dalton is out there, then shit, send Tooch out there to play left tackle. See what he's got. All right, Tooch, you're the back.
To play Tevin Jenkins right now. You don't need to play.
I don't think he's anywhere near as polished, just simply because he hasn't gotten the reps in practice and so forth. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong many, 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 many times. Yep. All right, Tooch, I appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate everyone who has stuck with us here to the bitter and 11:30 Chicago time. And again, we'll be back here tomorrow with more programming. Take care, and thanks, everybody.
Good night.